for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
No look, Bibby to Weber down the lane, flying jam. There's your play of the night right there. It's inside is Sabonis, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sacktown Sports.
It's time. It is that time. Time for Stiles and Watkins.
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140. Find us on YouTube at Sacktown Sports 1140.
It's time for Alan Stiles and Chris Watkins.
Yes. On a Tuesday. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. We got Olympics. We got Niners. We got Kings. We got MLB trade deadline with the Giants doing a whole lot of nothing. Oh, they're clearing money. No more Solar Power. He gets reunited in Atlanta. We got Nate behind the glass. We got the gymnastics going on. Simone Biles and her 4.740 about to take the stage. Chris Watkins, how you doing?
Fantastic. Yeah, I was told that this is supposed to be the dead period, but it's sure not looking like it.
That's right.
These days, it's loaded like a baked potato, as a great scholar once said.
Thank you very much, and we're kicking it like a soccer ball as well. I don't know about everybody else, but we got plenty
we're doing good
to talk about. Keegan Murray, okay, his runway and how it's affected by bringing in one DeMar DeRozan. But what did you want the Kings to do? They can't do nothing, but now they did too much. They just cannot win. We break all of that down from the Tim Bontemps article. Then we have what might be the most polarizing trade question that we have had throughout this whole offseason. It includes somebody that me and Chris do not agree about as far as his future. This guy plays in the Bay. He's young. He's springy. They want to bring him to Sacramento. That's what Bleacher Report is talking about. A 3-team deal. But as Thanos asked, at what cost? That is at 11 o'clock. You do not want to miss this. But we start here, Chris Watkins, as Brock Purdy, and some of this stuff I feel like I've heard before. Brock Purdy was on with Tim Kawakami. He talks about how he felt when he was approached about Tom Brady. And there's so many podcasts. I feel like we've heard that before.
Yeah,
we heard Brock talk about this
summer
before, and I'm double checking thinking, did I already see this? But not only did he talk about that, Brock confirmed that he was still rehabbing his surgically repaired UCL in his throwing elbow during last season, and he didn't feel 100% until week 10 against Jacksonville. Okay, he goes on. This is the quote. Once we had that bye week and I let my arm rest for a week, and then I came back, that's when I felt so much better. It was 5, 6, 7 months of straight grind and rehab on my arm. So yeah, I would put a little extra I would say I put a little extra rehab on the first half of the season. This is via the Tim Kawakami podcast. So now all of a sudden, Brock Purdy did all this. After all this, he put up those type of numbers, and he wasn't even fully healthy until week 10. This is where it's getting to, Chris. And Brock Purdy was number 7 on my top quarterback, okay? He came in at number 28 on the NFL Top 100. But I truly don't know what to do with this information. Are we now saying, because that's the thing, he does have a ridiculous cast of Avengers. No Dr. Doom. We don't. We're going to have Robert Downey Jr. is going to be a wide receiver on the Niners at this point. So we understand who he has. He has the best running back in the game with Christian McCaffrey. And last season,
Madden too.
And last season, Chris, you know what I would say? They really could have utilized Christian McCaffrey more in the receiving game.
Oh yeah,
not that 100%. They needed to because they have 18 receivers, but they could have. So I really don't know what to do with this information. Are we just looking at the next coming of Tom Brady himself? And some people call him, some Niner fans call him Mini Mahomes. I like Brock Purdy, but now this stuff is getting to a point, and maybe he will shut up all of the haters that are still left, and he will prove that he is, I guess, the best quarterback in the league. If you're number 28, right, and you're a top 10 quarterback, and by the numbers, he finished first in a lot of categories and an MVP candidate, and he wasn't healthy until week 10.
Right.
If my math is mathing, we're looking at possibly the best quarterback in the league by the end of this season. He's got a full, healthy offseason.
Sure.
I just don't know what to do with this information.
I mean, I think that you can take it towards where you're going for sure. I don't know if it necessarily has to be best quarterback in the league, but I mean, I would take that information and say that if that's what he was able to do when he was hurt, then yeah, there should be a certain level of expectation for when he's healthy because, like he has the full offseason to go. He's not, there was at this point last offseason, we were talking about Brock Purdy throwing towels.
Yes.
Okay. He was legitimately couldn't throw a football. He had to throw towels instead. And I definitely think you should read that as, okay, so if we saw him, let's put it at 80% for a majority of last year, what's it going to look like when he's 100% with a full cast and with, I mean, you could argue even more weapons than last year with adding Ricky Pearsall, with having, if they're still going to have Ayuk and Debo and the full cast and crew available, you should expect to see top NFL or top quarterback numbers this season. I would think so. He put it up last year. I mean, let's not act like Brock Purdy didn't put up MVP numbers. Like he was the MVP pretty much until that Ravens game where he threw 5 picks, and then that pretty much killed his MVP case. But he was playing like the best quarterback in the NFL last year for a good portion of it. He just had one extra terrible week, and all season long, everybody, every single person was looking for an excuse, was waiting for the other shoe to drop for Brock. And when it happened, everybody said, okay, cool. That's what we expected to see. We don't have to take this guy seriously anymore. I think he's ready to, I think he probably feels like there's still some things to prove. I don't think he feels satisfied. I think he's going to come out this year and say, look, I mean, I think a lot of people still think I'm a fraud, still think that last year is a bit of a fluke. The fluke tie, you really did capitalize on it all. I think he's going to come out ready to set the NFL on fire. I really think it's going to be, and especially if you listen to everything that's going on at Niners camp right now, Brock looks incredible, and I expect him to come out guns blazing.
It's not that his past doesn't matter anymore, but I'm to the point now where I don't really – it's still a good story, and it will always be a good story. And I know we didn't look at Tom Brady as an underdog anymore after he won some Super Bowls and he took over. We get all that, right, even though he got drafted really late. But at the same time now – I don't want to keep talking about Brock's origin story anymore.
No, I don't think that matters anymore.
Not if people are going to continue to say, look at his numbers. If you want to talk about him being the best, right? And oh, well, he wasn't healthy and this, that, the third, then that's how I'm going to talk about him. The kid gloves are off. Okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Coming into this season, I'm going to treat Brock like a big boy. I'm going to treat Brock like everybody else. I'm not, if anybody, we don't block people, but you are really going to have to defend yourself if you come in with some Mr. Irrelevant stuff, okay, this season, because we're past that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
If he's the man, he's the man. Here's a question. We're going to open up the phone lines already because it is a Tapatio Tuesday, 916-339-1140. We can do this two ways, Chris. We can do this including Patrick Mahomes and not including Patrick Mahomes. For the sake of the argument, because I think it'll be a better argument if we don't include Patrick Mahomes, will Brock Purdy ever be considered the second best quarterback in the league? That is the question. 916-339-1140. Will Brock Purdy, and if you think he could be better than Mahomes, then bring it. You can call in and we can have the conversation.
But I'd love to hear that.
Not including Patrick Mahomes. So second best. Will Brock Purdy ever be considered the second best quarterback in the league? Because based on these numbers, that's what we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. And now we're talking about he wasn't even healthy until week 10. So this is what we're talking about. Let's have a real conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I think the key word there is considered as well. Like, he might play like it. Again, last year, I think he played like one of the best, or again, for a certain period of time, for about 12 weeks, he played like the best quarterback in the NFL, but he was not considered the best. So I don't think he'll ever get, even if he does play to that level, he'll never get the respect of it because of the teammates around him. I mean, people are always going to point.
If he wins the big one.
I don't think so.
If he wins the big one.
I still think people will always point to McCaffrey. They'll always point to Debo. They'll always point to Ayuk. As long as those guys are there, he'll never get the full credit, whether that's justified or not.
If that Lions game was the Super Bowl, I think it has to be two. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying there is a type of game that he can pull off.
Oh, for sure.
That would beat that. If they won that Super Bowl that they were just a part of, then no. Yeah. Because it was, there was a lot of different stuff.
Juwan Jennings MVP.
Exactly. If that Lions game was the Super Bowl.
Yeah, where he has the runs.
I think he could be looked at number 2.
Yeah, for sure.
I think he could be looked at number 2.
No, I could definitely see that. Like, that's pretty much the thing, right? Is he's got to show up in big games. I mean, and he typically does, but I think you're right. Like, it does have to be it's got to be a ton of eyeballs on the game. It's got to be high stakes, and it's got to be a lot of him. It's got to be the heroics. Again, like all those individual runs that he had in that game, I think really woke people up to, man, like this kid isn't just a pocket passer. He's not just getting the ball to his targets.
Right.
He's actively making plays. I could see how maybe that would happen, but even then, I just think there's so much working against him in terms of the athletic, not even because he is an athlete. He definitely, again, he runs the ball, I think, a lot better than people would guess off of first glance, but I just think that he doesn't necessarily look the part, and I think that's a big part of it. I think people will always say, look at Josh Allen. I mean, he's 6'5". He can throw the ball anywhere he wants. Look at Lamar Jackson. He can outrun everybody, and he has an arm as well. I just don't think Brock will ever get the consideration for it. But again, my argument for him in my quarterback list was he's played like a top 10 quarterback, so he should be in the top 10 quarterback list. I just don't think that's how we work. So I'm going to say no, but I'm not going to say that he won't play like the best non-Mahomes quarterback out there.
From the 831, Brock Purdy is about to elevate to God mode this season. This is from Trey. I'm assuming that is not one Trey Lance, but you never know.
Hey,
I would say this. What I'm referring to is that last season when Brock had that rough stretch, we had to deal with people still chiming in, not just on this show, just in the Niners fandom world saying, this is only his first year starting, and he's still the fact that he's doing this at Mr. Relevant. I don't want to hear that anymore. Now, you can't have it both ways. You can't want people to respect your guy, but then when he doesn't play well, say, well, remember, blah, blah, blah. No. Okay, you either take off the kid gloves or you put him in a different category. You cannot have it both ways. Here's a crazy note. Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Jared Goff are the only current NFL quarterbacks with more playoff wins than Brock Purdy. And he's just getting started. But if we're going to anoint him, let's go all in and not play games. Coming up next, Kyle Juszczyk talks about winning the big game and how it's upsetting and frustrating that there is a narrative that Kyle Shanahan can't get it done. How much do you trust young Kyle? Stiles and Watkins, Stockdown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-881-4242, 800-881-4242.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, my son's teacher emailed his back to school list. He needs crayons and a comp book for every subject. Okay, no problem. With Staples Hot Deals, you'll find super low prices on hundreds of items for back to school. Oh, now they're saying he needs folders and glue. You got it. And markers? Of course. Oh, geez.
Can we get a card, please?
Save big on back to school with Staples Hot Deals. Right now, 24-pack Crayola crayons and comp books are only 50 cents each at Staples. Ends 8/24, in-store only, limit 10.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text 916-339-1140.
Aaron Fentress told the Drive guys he doesn't know who is going to give up 2 firsts for Jeremy Grant. We will break all of that down as we talked about Jeremy Grant on yesterday's show, and he was on the Drive guys yesterday, so that is coming up in about 10 minutes as we continue the Niners conversation. And Kyle Juszczyk is being accused of controlling the narrative. By the way, as we broke down Brock Purdy from the 8-3-1, I think that Brock will be considered the number 2 QB this season. Not only will he have the most weapons, if not all of them, but he is finally healthy. He has 2 great years of experience, which will help slow the game down that much more for him. Plus, he finally has built more of an NFL body. You see the muscle that he's put on? Oh, I've seen it, Trey. I've definitely seen it. The velocity has gotten to another level, and his lower body is also bigger. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying we got to keep the same energy. I think it won't be an issue. I think Brock will ball out, but there were too many people trying to hedge their bets last year, Chris. And I get it. It was a year prior, and he was coming off injury. None of that this season. Let's have real conversations as it pertains to Brock Purdy, because if you believe in your guy, you got to believe in your guy. This is Kyle Juszczyk, by the way, talking about believing in your guy, and he was on with the 49ers flagship. And he wanted to discuss the narrative that the Niners, and more specifically Kyle Shanahan, can't win the big game.
One of the narratives that I hate to hear about us as a team is that, the Niners can't win the big game because, we lost in 2 Super Bowls, which it's just crazy. If you know anything about football, you realize how many big games we did win in order to put ourselves in those positions. I mean, what was in 22, we started like 3-5 and had to win 12 games in a row. Those were big games. And winning in the NFC Championship when you're down 17 at halftime, that was winning a really big game. So I just hate to hear that narrative. But we do know that, if we get our chance again in the Super Bowl, we just got to finish the job.
The best roster. What did they have? What can somebody remind me? Was it 8 players in the top 30 for the NFL top 100? The best coach, one of the top 3 to 5 best coaches, a top 10 quarterback, the best running back, one of the best receiving cores. Kyle Juszczyk, stop it, man. Stop it. I don't want to hear about winning other big games. There's only one big game. Yep. There's only one big game. Oh, well, because we lost other games, we had to win these big games to get back. What are we talking about?
What do you want him to say? You want him to be like, no, he can't win it.
Done.
I think
we need to get it done.
I don't think it's crazy to say it. I don't think it's crazy to say, like, hey, we understand.
I hate this narrative. Yeah. What do you know what? What did he go to Yale? Where did he go? Harvard? Yeah. You know what narrative means? It means that somebody's creating something. Nobody created anything. You haven't won. So what are people creating? They're not making it up that you didn't win. Right. You didn't win.
Oh, man.
You didn't win.
Getting out of the chair.
You didn't win.
I'm right there with you.
What narrative? But let's say what a real narrative is. A real narrative is something that hasn't necessarily happened, but people are assuming you're not going to be able to do, right? So a narrative is, a narrative is you can't win. Let's say the NFC or whatever it is, right? A narrative isn't something that's actually true. If the narrative is you can't win the big game and you haven't won the big game, that's not a narrative.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
A spoken or written account of connected events. A story.
That's not a story. It's the truth.
That's the definition.
It's the truth.
Okay.
If the narrative is that Allen brings stinky lunches, right? Because he brought 1 or 2 stinky lunches, okay? Now, Allen only brings stinky lunches. But if I bring in a lunch that's not stinky anymore, that narrative is broken. If they win the Super Bowl...
No.
What do you mean, no?
You keep your lunches out of the room now. Okay, now this is gonna get crazy.
I know. We'll get back on track.
Stinky lunches is awesome.
I'm kidding.
That's a great
comparison. It's not a narrative if it's true.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm right there with you, Alan. I completely agree. Like, I think that it's just he's missing the point there. Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm sorry. The Niners have done everything. That's they have an offensive player of the year. They have a defensive player of the year. They've done it all. They've won NFC championship games. They've won their division. Right. They've had the best record in the NFL. They just haven't won a Super Bowl. So that's the only thing that you haven't accomplished yet. That's why it's such a big boogeyman for you, is because it's quite literally the only thing you guys haven't done yet. It's the only thing the fan base cares about right now. So I guess, whatever, sure, you can say it's a narrative, but it doesn't mean that it's not true, and it's not something that shouldn't be talked. Like, yeah, nobody's forgetting about the fun regular season. Nobody's forgetting about all the wins leading up to it. But you play the game to win a championship. It's why everybody plays. Somebody needs to tell Brandon Ayuk that, because apparently he doesn't care either. No. But these guys, every single player suits up to win a championship, and that's the only goal. So if you're coming short of that goal year after year and getting as close as you can, yeah, that's what people are going to talk about. Why can't you get it done? Why can you win all of these games leading into it? But for some reason, this one game, all of a sudden, all your prestige, all your, oh my gosh, you guys have the most stacked roster, all of it goes out the window. We don't the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, fantastic. They have Travis Kelce, fantastic. They have Chris Jones, fantastic. You could tell me a couple more of those other defenders. Sure, whatever. They're good. Mm-hmm. They're not the Niners. The Niners had the better team. They had the better coach. All of it gets thrown out because all of a sudden, for whatever reason, those games are equal and the Niners don't have the same advantage. The Niners could easily win those games. There's Super Bowls in the past that are 30-7.
Yes.
They're complete blowouts. And yet, and those are better teams going against an inferior team. But for whatever reason, in these Super Bowls, it seems like it's an even match. I don't get it.
Let me correct myself a little bit. There are different types of narratives. There are narratives that can be proved, and there are narratives that cannot be proved or will maybe never be proved. Okay. Allen brings stinky lunches. Brock Purdy, right? Brock Purdy wouldn't be the quarterback that he currently is without the Niners offensive crew, right? That is a narrative that people go with. Now, Brock cannot break that narrative unless Brandon Ayuk goes away or Debo. He cannot break that narrative. So I guess what I'm trying to say isn't that the word narrative was incorrect by Kyle Juszczyk in his Harvard degree. It's the idea that it cannot be disproved, or it's an unfair narrative.
Yeah,
Brock Purdy and the idea that he can't do what he's done on a different team is an unfair narrative because he is unable to prove it right now.
Exactly.
Okay? That is a narrative that should annoy Kyle Juszczyk or Niners fans.
Yep. Controllable or it's uncontrollable. Yes. That one is uncontrollable.
The narrative that Kyle Shanahan cannot win the big game, or that this team cannot win the big game, is not unfair because it's right and it's something that you can control.
Yeah. Multiple times.
Ridiculous.
I think it's crazy. I think
ridiculous.
It's a little tone deaf, but I to Nate's initial point, like I do understand why he feels the need to go out and say that, but there's other routes of like I think you can own it. Like it's been long, and I would much rather hear you own it than try and act like it's not a thing.
I feel like whenever I've heard Debo, and I really haven't heard Debo talk a lot these last couple months, but Debo has been a guy who, to me, hasn't really said stuff like that. He'll talk about how much it hurt.
Right.
He'll talk about we need it. We want to get on the other side. But besides that whole thing with the Eagles, and they have their own little mini rivalry, who knows, it'll still be around. But stuff like this, when you act like it's uncontrollable when it's very controllable, that's a problem for me. 916-339-1140. Let's get to TC. Wants to be a conversation. What's up, TC? What you got for us?
Man, Alan, Chris, what's up?
What's up, man?
Oh, just 5 minutes right in my wheelhouse, what y'all talking about, man. Seriously, so I'm going to keep it simple, man, from a diehard, right? Now, and it's like this Juszczyk getting caught up in the whole faithful BS and the whole narrative that a lot of this fan base and a lot of the Niner media has swarmed on everybody, thinking that it's cool to be high-level losers, bro. We haven't won anything. I don't care about those NFC. I don't care about any of that, dog. It's about, are we going to win the big one, and we haven't. And it's due to Kyle not getting out of his way. That's a whole other conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
How we talking, but this wheelhouse is juicy, dog. Seriously, we haven't. You just take a pay cut and all that. You're really speaking for your job, brother. I don't want you to go nowhere, but you got Durango and all that. That's why you coming out really speaking, dog. Check it out, man. A lot of this fan base is sports, and they blinded by the situation that's at hand, dog. Check it out. We haven't won the big game, and it's not wrong to fault that and say, are we ever going to win it? Or is this dude Kyle even the guy to get us there? or is he just a guy that got the team together and we got to pull a Steve Kerr, right? Seriously. So that's a whole other conversation we can get into, dog. But I agree with what y'all talking about. Juszczyk, we haven't won it, big dog. We keep going. What we gonna keep going? The Bills? Like, what's up, brother? You get me?
Yeah.
Like, we gotta be honest. We gotta be honest with ourselves. That's all I got. I like this full house that y'all on, big dog. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, TC. Coming up next, we will get into what the Trailblazers beat reporter had to say on the Drive Guys as far as Jeremy Grant. But there is a text that I have been waiting to just have a quick convo as it pertains to Brock Purdy, and a term that I've heard a lot with Brock Purdy that I haven't really heard prior to Brock Purdy. Stiles Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Our first year as the radio home of the San Francisco 49ers is one we will never forget.
Going deep down the sideline for RU. He's got it, and he's gone. 10-5, touchdown! San Francisco! Ayuk is on fire!
Congratulations to the 49ers on a terrific year. And thank you for so many wonderful memories.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio. So we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Jason Mraz and the Super Band live. The mystical, magical, rhythmical, radical ride. Friday, August 9th, the venue at Thunder Valley. Jason Mraz and the Super Band with special guest Molly Miller Trio. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Jason Mraz and the Super Band in concert. Pick up the new album, Mystical, Magical, Rhythmical, Radical Ride.
There was always a crowd gathered around our dining table when I was growing up. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. Everyone was welcome at my mother's table, so holidays, birthdays, and celebrations always included family and friends. I used to think I was the most popular kid in the neighborhood until I realized that my friends were really there for my mother's incredible cooking. Years later, when I bought my own dining table from Naturewood, I made sure it was large enough to make friends feel welcome. And right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings Dine in Style sale, you have an opportunity to find the perfect dining room furniture to help you create your own treasured memories. Choose from casual to formal or anything in between. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings during the Dine in Style sale off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave inviting you to make the switch to electric this spring and save big with American Energy. Stay ahead of the spiking energy bills this summer with up to $9,000 in rebates on a new ultra-high efficiency comfort system. American Energy is providing huge rebates from SMUD as well as spring specials by installing one of many incredibly efficient AC options available to you right now. Get rid of those fluctuating gas bills in the winter and switch to year-round all-electric with American Energy. Let them perform a free in-home energy efficiency analysis and see where they can help you save for the warmer months ahead. These guys are the best. Been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ from the Better Business Bureau. Learn more by calling 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Alan brings stinky lunches.
Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
Well, the top of TO Tuesday rolls on. And Lewis, we see ya. We still got to get to what the Trailblazers beat reporter had to say on the Drive Guys yesterday and this text message. We're going to get to Lewis because he has something to say about one of our other callers and maybe about Chris and myself as well. But guys, just real quick, and I'm really not trying to be cynical here. Okay, I'm serious now. This is from the 916. This is from Nick. Nick is a pretty frequent texter. We like Nick.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that people undervalue Brock Purdy's ability to process the game? He is elite at processing the defense and plays on the field. That's from Nick. I have a question, and I'm not being sarcastic. Brock Purdy is in my top 7, okay, quarterbacks. Following football, before Brock Purdy, how often did you hear about the quote-unquote processing of quarterbacks?
Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
Tom
I would say
Brady.
pretty often.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty common term. I might be I don't know. I feel like often.
I feel like because Brock doesn't, a lot of people thought he doesn't have the arm strength. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. This is why he became Mr. Irrelevant. Hey, well, what does he do well? I feel like if I had $1 for every time I heard elite processor once Brock came on the scene, what other quarterbacks right now? Here's a better question.
I've never heard the word elite processor. I'll say that.
Okay, thank you.
I'll say that.
Thank you. And I will definitely, then I'll ask the other question. Yeah. Who are the other elite processors in other elite processing quarterbacks in the NFL right now? Because I only hear it about Brock Purdy.
Stafford, I'd say.
I got to
Burrow. Yeah.
I only hear it about Brock Purdy.
Okay. I guess maybe I have heard that term before, but it's not a common elite processor. No, but you're also a Raiders fan, so you're not used to having elite processors.
Okay.
In the pocket.
I'm just saying.
I heard it.
I'm not even hating. I just hear it so much with Brock.
Okay.
I think it's just because that's what he does best. I would maybe say it's just not a typical thing to have be your best trait.
I give it cause to pause when people start making up new terms.
I just saw he was 28th on the top 100, Brock.
That's what we said.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, well, there's some stuff going in here. So
said that in the first segment.
Yeah, well, I just shut up.
Nick Bosa, number 27, by the way.
Same size quads. They put the quad. It's based on quad size.
That's right. That's right. We're going to get into this Trailblazers information, but we said that Lewis had some things to say. 916-339-1140 on the top of TO Tuesday. Lewis, Stiles Watkins, what you got for us?
Hey, I'm going to tell y'all something, and this goes out to, I think, your last caller. He said that if you don't win at all, you just haven't done anything. Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you about life, about the way that it is, right? Mm-hmm. If there's 32 teams in the league, right, you're going to tell me Dallas didn't do nothing last year when they went to the finals. They lost to Boston, right? Mm-hmm. But they didn't do nothing when they, all the teams that they got ahead of, this, that, blah, blah, blah. You trying to tell me, sir, that the 49ers didn't do nothing because they couldn't overcome the Chiefs? You know how many teams there are in the league? You know what I'm saying? Those Buffalo teams that went to the Super Bowl 4 times, but they didn't come away with the chip. Did they not do something? So I with all due respect, I think people need to pump their brakes. They need to understand that these are human beings. And anytime you play a game, there's going to be one person that's going to win, one team that's going to win, and there's going to be one team that's going to lose, right? And that's how it goes. And then how they say from the old school Friday, then you get up and you've lived to fight again.
No,
right?
I hear you, Lewis. But my question is this: number one, you can't compare the Mavericks to the Niners, because I think if this was after the Kaepernick Super Bowl, I think that you would be more in line. But this is years of losing the Super Bowl. My question to you would be, if that's the case, then why does anybody is Kyle Shanahan ever going to move on? What do you do, right? Andy Reid, he did the same thing with the Eagles. They had to eventually move on. if you're okay with, I'm not saying that you have to win it every season, and I don't think TC's saying that either, but brother, they've been to 3.
Oh my goodness. So, well, thank you for asking. Yeah, what I would tell you is this. No, I think Kyle, he's shown himself to be at his poorest in the biggest moments, right? So that's a whole nother question, right? We can go back to the Atlanta debacle, can't we? Right? Kyle has shown himself to be the worst version of himself in the brightest light. You know what I mean? But with that being said, I don't think necessarily this loss was on Kyle. That's not the way I remember it. You got me now. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that thing because maybe I'm wrong. But I get your gist, right?
Yeah.
What's going on with Kyle? What's going on with the team? Do you think that I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl this year? No. No. I wouldn't put a chip down on that. No, I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl this year. I don't even think they're going to sniff it, right? I don't think they make it past the first round of the playoffs, honestly. There's some teams that have really improved themselves. And, so to me, that's a whole nother story.
Sure.
But I'm just, my whole thing was just like, come on now. Only one team can, at the end of the day, stand at the top of the mountain. It's not about, what you didn't do. Now, if you really want to talk about somebody who failed, then you want to look at the Baltimore Ravens.
Sure.
That travesty of a playoff loss that they had, where somehow they forgot that they were a running team. Right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a whole nother flavor.
No, that's great. Yeah, that's great stuff, Lewis. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, Lewis.
Keep calling in. We appreciated that. Yeah, and I think there are a lot of questions with the Ravens. They're dealing with their own questions. I think all of these teams have questions that they need to answer. I just wouldn't compare the Mavericks getting to the finals.
It's a little different. They're more on the up.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's the first one.
It's the first one, right.
I would. That's
like
why
you said.
we
I think the
compare.
Kaepernick one would be a better.
Exactly, and that's why we've compared the Niners to the Celtics, because the Celtics were a team that were supposed to be in this mix for a while and just haven't, really been able to figure it out. But great stuff there from Lewis and of course from TC, Chris, and ultimately, I just think what it comes down to is if you're looking at Kyle Shanahan, how much do you trust him that he will eventually get it done, even though he hasn't yet? I don't, it's not even that I don't trust him. I'm just not going to say, oh man, I can't stand this narrative that he can't get it done. Right. I feel like he will eventually, but I'm not going to get mad at anybody who doesn't think that he can.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd say that, you put yourself in that situation, you're good every year. Eventually, you'll get it done at some point. But yeah, I mean, I think Kyle's a great coach, but like Lewis said, like he's just struggled in the biggest game every single time. I wouldn't put, like Lewis said, I wouldn't necessarily put this past Super Bowl loss on Kyle, but at the same time, like he's the common thread of a lot of these losses. And I think, he's kind of, I think Andy Reid is the perfect comp for him right now. I mean, Andy, when he was in Philadelphia, obviously could get it as close as you can get to winning the Super Bowl without getting it done. But we see it's not like it wasn't Andy Reid's. Andy Reid was not incapable of winning a Super Bowl. As we see, he eventually gets it done with the Chiefs, and now they're rolling. I mean, there hasn't been any sort of, hey, Andy Reid is really holding them back from their full potential at all with the Chiefs right now. So I think it is as simple with Kyle as once he gets it done, that's a narrative, right? That whole narrative gets erased, and I think, we kind of view him in a different light. But until that happens, I mean, he's going to get these jokes and he's going to get clowned. And I think it is very deservedly so because, again, his teams have just failed time after time after time in very similar ways. And he's the common thread. So he's going to take the blame for it.
Yeah, that's just – and that is not a – people are hating on Kyle Shanahan thing. That's how it works.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Seth Curry got carried in finals until he won a finals MVP. 100%. I mean, that's just there. You can pick him. Yep. You can pick him. And
LeBron James
couldn't get it done.
Bayless got a career off of it.
Yeah, and he's still going.
Still cooking. For a little
20 years later, Skip finally has to give it a rest.
Hours.
Now he's trying to roast Bronny. All right, coming up next, we get into what the Blazers beat reporter had to say on the drive, guys, and whether we think that Jeremy Grant is worth 2 first. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Subscribe to Sacktown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sacktown Sports.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Whitey here reminding you that not all gas grills are created equal. Bring out all the delicious flavors in your grilled meats with the amazing Napoleon Prestige and Prestige Pro line of outdoor cookers. My Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill has turned me into a grilling pro with features other grills cannot match. They're built different, built better, built to last. Made with premium stainless steel that boasts quality and a lifetime warranty. I may never want to cook indoors again. Napoleon grills and accessories are now available at your nearby Amy's, Ace Hardware in Sacramento, and now El Dorado.
Sacramento, Dirks Bentley's coming to town. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo for Country in the Park 2. And he's bringing some friends. Parmalee, Tyler Rich, Dasha, Kelsey Hart, and more. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo. Get your tickets today before they're sold out at CITPFest.com. Brought to you by The Scoundrel Red Wine, Naturewood Home Furnishings, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers.
Pop summer savings now at Maida Chevy with $12,000 off MSRP on every new Silverado half-ton Turbo Max in stock after rebate. $12,000 off every Silverado LT Turbo Max at Maida Chevy with at least 5 at this price. Pop summer savings up to $12,000 off MSRP exclusively at Maida Chevy at MaidaChevy.com. Sacramento Silverado headquarters. Together, let's drive.
Not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers. Must trade in 2010 model year or newer and 73124.
Made a great deal at Maida. I'm a very active person that likes to move around and go. The pain I was in was really excruciating. It was actually debilitating. I was basically heading towards a sedentary lifestyle. I had really tried everything, but I quickly lost hope with all of the things that we had tried, and that's what led me to the Good Feet store. And when I found the Good Feet system, it really just changed everything. It brought me back to life. I have my active lifestyle back.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
The Blazers beat reporter Aaron J. Fentress was on the Drive Guys, and he himself wasn't sure who was going to give up 2 firsts for Jeremy Grant as we tie a bow on the Niners talk for a little bit. From the 916, I'm a diehard Niners fan, but I have serious fatigue on the 49ers after the last few seasons. I don't know how to get up for this next season, to be perfectly honest, and in some ways, it'll be nice because I just don't have a lot of expectations going into this season, whereas last year it was Super Bowl or bust. Yeah, I think that coming off the Brock situation, it would have been ours if Brock didn't get hurt. There was a lot of expectations. Nobody called it the revenge season, but people thought, they were cooking. And then you have the fluke to Ayuk and everything looked to be moving in the direction of you're finally going to get it done. And then they didn't. I think this one burned a lot for Niners fans, and maybe you're just numb to it. I know Nate has talked about being numb to it a little bit. And as we go into this next season, maybe this will be the surprise when they actually do get it done. But of course, we will have all of that Niners information for you as we continue on throughout the process. All right, getting into this Trailblazers conversation, Chris, and Aaron J. Fentress was not really sure who was going to give up 2 firsts, as I talked a little bit yesterday about why not be the Kings and just get it done. This is what he had to say on the drive, guys.
Are the Blazers going to roll over on Jeremy Grant? I mean, there's a reports that okay, it's going to take 2 first-round picks to get him. Do we know how many teams might be interested? Do we believe Sacramento could be one of them, Aaron?
I don't know who's giving up 2 firsts for Jeremy. It's one of those things where, they want 2 first round picks. Well, they probably want 3 or 4 or 5 or 6,
Sure.
But wanting and what you get are 2 different things. They just packaged 2 firsts with Brogdon, whom they wanted to get 1 or 2 firsts for, to get Denny Adva. So are you really going to come back and get 2 for Jeremy, whom you got for 1 pick and a trade exception 2 years ago? So now he's 2 years older. He has 4 years remaining on this huge deal that's going to pay him $30+ a year. I don't know who's ponying up 2 picks for that. And even any contender that might think he's a key piece for them, you must already have a pretty high payroll. So do you want to take on that type of salary for a guy who's somewhat one-dimensional at forward? He doesn't really rebound. The defense is okay. He's a great guy, though. Like, if he does go down there, you guys will absolutely love him. Great person. Love covering him. I just don't see how 2 firsts is a thing. But we'll see.
Aaron, So I have here, Chris. I just fired this up right now, okay, on good old Fanspo, and this would be my take it or leave it for the Blazers. All right, and I'm not doing 2 firsts. The question is, would you add a first to this, or would you even do this? So I have here the Kings would get Jeremy Grant, and the Blazers would get Kevin Huerter and Trey Lyles. And my question to you would be, I think you would do that deal if the Blazers said, we need Kevin Huerter, Trey Lyles, and a first for Jeremy Grant. Would you do that deal?
I would want protections on the first-round pick. It definitely wouldn't be an unprotected first. I just feel like, I've personally also never really been super high on Jeremy Grant. It's actually kind of music to my ears to hear a Blazers reporter say those things about Jeremy Grant, because I've always kind of felt it. But you know how it is, especially when teams are active in trade talks. It seems like fan bases tend to kind of just prop those guys up a little bit more. It's always, oh my gosh, this guy is the perfect
besides Kyle Kuzma.
Besides Kyle Kuzma, of course, besides Kyle Kuzma. For some reason, Kyle's the only one who's not perfect. But Lauri Markkanen, he fixed all your problems. Yes. Jeremy Grant, he fixes all of your problems, and I just never really saw it from Jeremy Grant. So it is nice to hear that from a Blazer reporter. But yeah, I mean, I think the tough thing for that is just, again, like Jeremy Grant, like he said, makes a lot of money. Like, you're paying, I didn't even realize that he signed initially a 5-year deal. So yeah, he's right. There's 4 more years left on that deal. Jeremy Grant, $29 million, then $32 the following season, $34 the next, and then a player option for $36 million in 27-28. He better be the right answer. And that's the problem for me, is I just don't think he's necessarily a good enough player to eat up that much of your cap. With all that said, Trey Lyles and Kevin Huerter, and we'll say a top 10 protected first-round pick for Jeremy Grant, I'm okay with it, but I personally would want them to explore other options. I would rather do Cam Johnson. I would rather do Kyle Kuzma. I probably would rather see what the Brandon Ingram market is looking like at this point, because if you're going to take up that much money and if you're going to be cap locked anyway, I kind of might as well go for the best possible option. And I just don't feel like Jeremy Grant is that. I think he's a really solid player. I think it's interesting to hear that he doesn't think that his defense is really the highlight of his game, because that's the most intriguing part to me. I don't know, man. Like, I think he's a really solid player, but I would just look other ways, especially if it's going to, I mean, even if it's not going to be 2 first-round picks, I just feel like there's better options out there. But value-wise, I think I'm okay with Huerter, Lyles, and a protected first. But I'm not going to be super excited about it on these airwaves, I'll tell you that.
No.
But it does. We talked about it a lot yesterday. It does make the overall 5 a whole lot better.
Yes, it makes the 5 better, and I do think it puts them into the conversation of, and this is what we talked about a little bit yesterday. You could be a 3 seed. right now. And an unsurprising 3 seed.
Yes.
I think with the current roster, you would be a very surprising 3 seed. I think you add Jeremy Grant, you would be an unsurprising 3 seed.
Yeah.
And
or better,
or better, because we're just assuming that the T-Wolves are going to play the same exact way. I mean, they just Gobert. Did they beat Japan?
They squeaked it out 94-90.
Because Rui Hachimura, my guy, got ejected from the game.
Pretty much the only reason why.
So I don't know, Chris. I'm starting to get a little bit itchy. Okay, and I know Nate's probably going to cut that too, but I'm starting to get a little bit itchy with the idea that nobody is making a move, and you can be defensive. And I don't know if defensive is the right term, but you can be okay. I feel like we're at a middle school dance, okay? And everybody's on one side and everybody's on the other. And it's just who's going to be the person, right, that's just going to, hey, this is my song. Yeah. Let's get out there. And nobody wants to be the person.
Who wants to go out in the middle.
And I feel like Monty McNair might be the person, because that person ends up being the most popular.
Yeah, for sure.
And everybody likes that person, because if
but everyone's afraid to.
But everyone's afraid
to be that person.
But then if you're not that person and somebody else goes and gets the little cutie that you wanted to talk to, you might look around, everybody else bum rushes. Now there's no cuties to talk to.
Yeah,
now you're not dancing.
That's really how it can be, sure.
Now you gigging with your friend in a corner, okay, to Mac Dre, and nobody is
acting
looking
like that's
at
what you wanted the whole time.
It was a movie last night. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't a movie. Nobody wanted that. All right, you left with no prospects.
A great time,
No, yeah. Oh man,
boys' night, bro down.
We got hot dogs after. No, you didn't want that. Come on now, that's not why you went out.
No, I think that's a great analogy. Seriously, I think it's perfect because I think Monty McNair might be the one to say, okay, like we're going to be the one making these splashes. Like I thought Golden State wanted to do it. I thought there was going to be a big market for the Kyle Kuzmas. I thought the Lakers were going to be wanting all these guys, Jeremy Grant, Brandon Ingram, all these guys. And if the Kings are going to come out of this offseason with, obviously Paul George is the massive move of the offseason, but if the Kings make essentially the two biggest non-Paul George biggest power plays and getting DeMar and go out there and get whoever it is, Mikal Bridges, of course, I'm forgetting about too, and DeJounte Murray. Those are forgotten in time. But I think if the Kings make that kind of move, that's the most aggressive offseason I think anybody has. Going out and getting a DeMar DeRozan when, frankly, I don't think a lot of people even really knew that he was for the taking or he kind of at the last minute once they made the Caruso trade was like, okay, I might not want to stay here in Chicago. And Monty pounced really quickly. I think it would be great if Monty's the aggressor in this offseason. It's already felt like he's been. He's touched every single rumor that's been out there. The Kings have been linked to it all. It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me if the Kings are the ones who make the next move too. They made the last big move of the offseason so far. Wouldn't surprise me at all if they're the ones who are the most aggressive and say, look, we're not trying to get left behind here. We didn't make the playoffs. We have a fan base that's incredibly hungry for playoff basketball. We're going to make sure we lock down that spot because we just learned last season, don't leave it up to chance. Don't put yourself in the play-in and say, oh, it's fine. The play-in's kind of built to give you an extra life raft. That's not the life they want to live. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they prioritize just not being in the play-in period and saying, we'll figure it out. Again, look at Dallas. Nobody thought at the halfway point in last season that they were going to make the finals. Maybe Monty says, it's kind of nice to not be the front runner a bit. It's nice to, kind of surprise some people. We like exactly where we're at right now with people not talking about us and trying to downplay the DeMar signing. So, yeah, I definitely could see the Kings being the aggressor and maybe saying, that's a high price for Jeremy Grant, but we might be willing to pay it if it gets it done and puts us in the right position.
Yeah, and the main thing is here, if you look at the Timberwolves and what they did, it was one of those memes. Nobody at all, not a single soul. 5 first-rounders for Rudy Gobert. Now, I'm not saying that the Kings should go out and do that, but it wasn't as if, oh, okay, well, everybody's making moves, let's go do it. No, they did something that they believed in, okay? And they had the courage of their conviction. And no, they haven't got to the finals yet, but now we're looking at them as a top 2 seed in the West because you hit on Anthony Edwards. You still have Karl Anthony Towns in its 75 voices. And now you add on one Rudy Gobert, and the first season they got clowned. That's the other part of this, Chris. You have to account for that season where you're figuring things out.
Yeah.
So let's say the Kings, they want to stay flexible. they go into this one season with DeMar DeRozan, and let's say they get bounced in the first round, something like that, even the second round. Now you have to, if you know you're probably going to need to add something, then what are you waiting for? Because then, okay, now we have to go into next season and we have to make sure that this all works together. And if it doesn't work, now we've lost another year. So I think if you feel like you are going to want to strike again, then I don't really understand what exactly. And I'm not saying that I know the ins and outs the same way the rest of the front office does. I'm not saying that. But from the outside looking in, it's if you feel, unless you think this team is it, then I'm not really sure what exactly it is you're waiting for. Because we've seen there's no clearance sale coming. There's no going out of business.
No, yeah.
Okay, now we'll just take a second rounder for Jeremy Grant. That's not going to happen, or we just need a second rounder for Kyle Kuzma. These teams are willing. These teams are, especially when it's your own conference, these teams are almost willing to keep themselves in a bad spot than to come off of an asset that they don't think they're getting the value for.
Yeah,
they'd rather
Zach
screw
Levine.
themselves over than help out a team. Speaking of, are you willing to help the Golden State Warriors if it means the Sacramento Kings get better? A blockbuster trade scenario from Bleacher Report that Chris and I get into, and let's just say we have two very different thoughts on it. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over. And if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So no more step stool?
No more step stool. Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
At Lowe's, save big every day. Right now, get a free pneumatic nailer when you buy a pallet of Metabo HPT nails. And there's more. Save 10% on select shingles when you buy in bulk. Visit us in-store or online for low prices on the materials you need. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Plati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
Jason Mraz and the Super Band. Live. The mystical, magical, rhythmical, radical ride. Friday, August 9th, the venue at Thunder Valley. Jason Mraz and the Super Band with special guest Molly Miller Trio. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Jason Mraz and the Super Band in concert. Pick up the new album, Mystical, Magical, Rhythmical, Radical Ride.
Celebrate Sacramento River Cats baseball during our 25th anniversary season and join the fun at Sutter Health Park. For a full promotion schedule and to buy tickets, visit rivercats.com. We'll see you there.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your new home for 49ers football in the 916.
Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
It is time. The top of TO Tuesday.
Remember when Ron was doing those?
Yeah, I'm glad that's over now. Yeah. The train rolls on as we get to this Bleacher Report blockbuster trade that is going to make a lot of people feel a lot of things. We're probably going to have to explain this one a couple times here because you might need a T89 calculator to figure out everything that the Jazz would receive. But I'm going to throw over to you, Chris Watkins, and then things are going to get a little dicey.
Yeah, this is via Bleacher Report. I believe it's Eric Pincus, who is a writer over there at Bleacher Report. And he makes a trade for what's probably the most popular trade item right now, if I could call a human an item. Lauri Markkanen obviously has been linked to the Golden State Warriors quite a bit. We've talked about it quite a bit. And here we go. Let's just get into it. And then Eric does later explain why every team would do it. I will read why the Kings would do it. And then we can discuss if Eric is on to something or not. Alan, where should we start with this? Should we start with the Jazz Haul? Should we start with the Warriors Haul or the Kings Haul? Well, I think Kings Haul last.
Yes. Kings Hall last. Let's just get through the Jazz Hall, because there's so much.
Yeah, we might have to take two segments.
And here the Spark Notes is that they're getting a ton of picks.
Yes, they're getting a ton of picks.
But yes, we have the details.
Yes. So in this trade, the Utah Jazz, again, this is a 3-team deal that's been proposed here by Bleacher Report. Involving the Jazz, Warriors, and Kings, in which the Utah Jazz will get from the Warriors Moses Moody, Kevon Looney, Guy Santos, a 2025 top 5 protected first-round pick, a 26 Atlanta second-round pick, a 2027 first-round swap from the Golden State Warriors, and from the Kings, the Jazz will be receiving Kevin Huerter, Colby Jones, a 2028 unprotected first-round pick, and a 2030 unprotected pick swap with the Sacramento Kings. So again, in total, the Jazz are getting Moses Moody, Kevon Looney, Guy Santos, Kevin Huerter, Colby Jones, 2 first-round picks, 2 first-round pick swaps, and a second-round pick. The Golden State Warriors, again, they're getting rid of Moody, Looney, Guy Santos, and a couple picks. We'll get Lauri Markkanen, an $8 million trade exception for Kevon Looney, and just about a $2 million trade exception for Guy Santos. And that brings us over to the Sacramento Kings, who, again, are getting rid of Kevin Huerter, Colby Jones, a 28 unprotected first-round pick, and a 2030 first-round swap to go along with the 2031 unprotected first-round pick that they already gave up to San Antonio. The Kings, Alan Stiles, be ready for this one. I'm going to save the best for last year. They'll get the $9.2 million trade exception for Kevin Huerter. They'll get a $2.1 million trade exception for Colby Jones. And for those who don't know, trade exceptions can essentially be used to just onboard salary when they don't match perfectly. So if the Kings were to try and make a trade, let's say for a Jeremy Grant, and they can only get, especially with trading Kevin Huerter out, they can only get up to $14 million. They can then use those 2 trade exceptions to get essentially an additional $11 million towards matching the deal to get deals in the future done. So they will get essentially $11 million in trade relief and one Jonathan Kuminga from the Golden State Warriors.
Light it up!
So again, the Kings get rid of Kevin Huerter, Colby Jones, a first-round pick in 28, and a first-round pick swap in 2030, essentially for Jonathan Kuminga.
Light it up.
Let me read why Bleacher Report says the Sacramento Kings will do it. This is, again, Eric Pincus from Bleacher Report making a 3-team trade that sends Kevin Huerter over to the Utah Jazz, Colby Jones over to the Utah Jazz, and brings Jonathan Kuminga back to, well, I guess not back to Sac, but brings Jonathan Kuminga to Sacramento. Eric writes in the article, why the Sacramento Kings do it. The Kings need a forward to replace Harrison Barnes, who was traded to the Spurs earlier this summer. Kuminga will make $7.6 million, more than half of Kevin Huerter. Sacramento also clears Huerter's salary for the 25-26 season, which should leave enough room for the team to use some or all of next year's non-payer tax level exception, which this season was about $13 million. Guess would be around $14 to $15 million for next season. Kuminga may want 25 to 35 starting salary, but that's up to the Kings to negotiate. Sacramento can compromise or let Kuminga go in restricted free agency, which would be interesting in 25, knowing the team has leverage in those negotiations as they can match any offer. As a player, he represents an athletic forward who can make up for some of Domantas Sabonis' deficiencies defensively, not to diminish the all-star in his abilities. The combination of forwards, Keegan Murray and Kuminga, with De'Aaron Fox, DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk, and Sabonis, is a potent six. Outgoing players like Huerter and Jones may not hurt the Kings as much as the draft compensation, but this may be the best way for Sacramento to add young athletic talent like Kuminga. A deal may hinge on the Jazz's demand for Brandon Podziemski, but the Kings may be able to help provide Golden State and Utah a viable compromise before the start of the season while improving their chances in the Western Conference. Again, Eric Pincus of Bleacher Report proposes a 3-team trade that essentially sends from the Kings side Kevin Huerter, Colby Jones, 28 first-round pick, and a 2030 first-round swap for Jonathan Kuminga, and the Warriors get Lauri Markkanen.
Where do I sign?
Yeah, you liking it?
Where do I sign right now?
Yeah, I know you're a Kuminga guy.
Where do I sign? You get the length, you get the athleticism, you get the defense, you get the offense. He was cooking the Kings offensively, and
I'd rather have Moses Moody cook us. Well,
no,
he's cooking us. It's more what I'm
well, they were both doing something.
I'm sorry.
All right,
you were on a roll. I'm sorry.
No, well, you know what? It doesn't matter because I know you don't want to do this.
Yeah. Well, you're correct. I don't want to do it. I mean, it's not that it's not a bad bet. I do like a lot of the thought process behind it. I just don't think Kuminga's the guy. I mean, I just think right now in the Warriors system, like, he's cooking. He is cooking, but it's because they need him to score because they ain't got no one else who can score.
Chris, what does that? What does that?
So
mean,
what is he going to do for us? Is my question, because he's not going to be. But we don't need him as a scorer. The Warriors need him as a scorer.
He can defend.
He's a theoretical defender.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Yes, if he was cooking on defense, then he would have been playing this whole time.
No, Chris, they had him trying to guard guards. Right, he can guard wings at a high level. Okay, the issue was when. What was it? 2 years ago, they tried him guarding Ja Morant and things like that because
that's not working.
Bill and Brooks whacked GP2 in the head, so they didn't have a choice. He is a high-level defender of the wing position.
He better be.
There are guys that Keegan Murray will struggle with, that Kuminga will be able to help with. And that's just defensively.
Yeah.
And offensively, we just talked about. If the only thing I would argue is, okay, we could talk about the spacing a little bit because of his jump shooting. But besides that, you have three level scores and the 3 levels of scoring on the court. Okay, you have the 3-point ball from Keegan Murray. All right. Then you have
the only
De'Aaron
shooter in this lineup, by the way. Fox, DeRozan, Huerter, or Keegan,
but you're not
Kuminga and Sabonis. There's no shooting in that lineup.
It's not no shooting.
You're right. You're gonna get De'Aaron Fox taking 12 threes a game.
You have De'Aaron Fox, who is an improved 3-point shooter.
Yes, he is.
You have Keegan Murray, who obviously that's what he does.
That's a good narrative.
Okay. What do you mean?
I think De'Aaron
he is.
It is. It's a fact. It is a fact. It is just a fact.
Shooter.
It's 100% a fact.
Brings stinky lunch. All right. Nate likes that one too much. Then you have DeMar DeRozan, who everybody's again. We had this conversation. Everybody's acting like DeMar DeRozan cannot shoot the basketball.
Yeah, no, it's impossible. He can't.
Okay, that you're not going to stretch out that floor. And Jonathan Kuminga, he's continuing to improve.
Yes. Yeah.
He's continuing to improve. The problem is this, and we're going to get into the Tim Bontemps article. Oh, well, this person is too much. You got to give him runway. This person's not enough. That's Harrison Barnes. What are we supposed to do? I think that Jonathan Kuminga is a bit of that middle ground for the rest of these guys.
Yeah.
The only argument I would have against it is maybe you're slowing down the timeline. But again, I don't even know what is coming next anyway.
Yeah. Can I tell you what, too? It's funny you say that, because the thing that I like about it is the timeline of it. You're right. It does slow down the timeline, but that's actually what I like about it. It gets the Kings younger, and it allows them to kind of stretch out this window a bit, right? Like it feels like the window for the Kings, as we talk about window with the Niners a lot, but like it's kind of these next 3 to 4 to 5 years, and it feels like Kuminga, with him being so young, there's a world where, okay, maybe this Sabonis thing doesn't work out as much as we want it to, and there's still a De'Aaron Fox, even though he's just a little bit younger than Sabonis, but you can run out a potential future core, if you wanted, of Fox, Murray, and Kuminga, and that could be a different style of team. I do like that a lot about Jonathan Kuminga, that he is young. He does bring a little bit of energy and athleticism. I mean, athleticism is something that we talked about a lot last year in terms of the Kings just needing. I like those things about it. I do, and I really like Kuminga at a 4 position, because there's not a lot of confusion in terms of, hey, I need him to be a little bit of everything. It does feel like at the 4, maybe you could condense his role a little bit more specifically to be a good rim protector, be an athlete, and offensively, I don't need you to necessarily cook and do these turnarounds and all those things.
But he can.
He can, but I don't think that's the most efficient way for him to play. I think if he wants to be a 55+% field goal guy around the rim, and he's got to be able to shoot some knockdown threes. Just catch and shoot threes is really all you need from him. That's how I can see it making sense. I just think Kuminga is a little bit too raw for my liking, but there is some good in there. I understand where the good is in there. I just don't know if the Kings want to necessarily mold a guy like that, because it feels like he is a piece of clay, and it could work out good for you, but it also is going to take a lot of individual attention, and I just don't know if the Kings want to throw that level of development really into the roster, into their lineup right now.
I have 2 questions for you. The first question is, would you rather go into the season with the current roster, or you could make this deal right now? Would you make the deal?
I think I do. I think I make the deal. I
think
it's a good enough risk. I think the reward is good enough for the risk, but the Kings at that point, we're talking, we talk about windows, 28, 30, and 31 are now out the door as draft picks. We really aren't working with a lot in terms of future assets, and that means the Kings have to be good here, not only for the next 3 years, but we're talking the next, 7-8 years.
Next question.
And that's why Kuminga is also good, because he probably is going to be around for those 8 years.
Because I would do the deal too. Yeah. The next question I have for you is, how much would you be worried, or how much would you care that you're helping the Warriors get Lauri Markkanen?
It's a risk I think I'm willing to take.
Because I don't care. Because I don't care. Because if you don't believe in Podziemski, like we do not believe in Podziemski, you're taking away their other young talent in Jonathan Kuminga. Yep. You could be Lauri Markkanen and the Pips. It doesn't matter to me. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Let them ride off to the sunset. Maybe they get 1, and meanwhile the Kings, maybe they beat the Kings in the Western Conference Finals, and Steph rides off into the sunset after that. But but I'm saying at least they'd be gone. Yeah, they're gone after that. Because Lauri Markkanen, to me, with Steph Curry being gone, whenever Steph Curry is gone, that's fine to me. Yeah, that's fine.
No, I don't care. Yeah, Lauri can be the face of the Warriors after Steph leaves. I don't care about that. Yeah, I think it's just worth it, because I don't think the Warriors become good enough. I think the Kings are still a better team, even if the Warriors get Lauri Markkanen, and for that reason, I would be willing to make it work. And I think that losing Kuminga does make them a worse team, even though they do get Lauri Markkanen and they're probably better for it in the long run. That Kuminga piece is still a really big piece that they just can't replace. They needed Jonathan Kuminga in a way last year to kind of save their season, and he did. He definitely, credit to him, he definitely did. I don't think they can just straight up replace that with Lauri Markkanen. So I think the Kings are a better team for it 100%. I just am not the biggest. Like, if that's the piece, I just don't know if I can convince myself that Kuminga can be as good as some of those others. But there's other people out there who think Jonathan Kuminga, sky is the limit.
But this is what I don't understand. I do not understand how you can say this is the NBA, Chris.
Yes.
Okay. You're talking about,
just check.
Okay. You're talking about the Warriors needed Jonathan Kuminga to score.
Yes.
Right? And he did.
Yes.
So I don't understand how it's a negative that you have somebody that can score at will at the NBA level.
Because I think he was scoring on volume. Not on, like, I don't think he was an efficient. Like, I don't think he was doing what Jonathan Kuminga. Like, it's just not the most efficient scoring. Like, he's taking turnaround jump shots. He's doing all this stuff because they need him to be a scorer. Mm-hmm. And so he's taking, I don't know how many shots he took last year. I would guess around 15 shots a game.
No,
the Kings need him to take like 6 to 8 shots a game. And that means you just need to be taking your best shots. Not everything you can do, just the best things in which you do.
I think we're dealing with the Kyle Juszczyk false narrative here.
Oh, no.
We're gonna get this.
Ahead.
We're gonna get this taken care of. Coming up next, we continue the conversation. We leave fantasy world and we snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Ooh. And we ask the question, who has the most to prove on the Kings, on the current roster, who's currently on the Kings, who has the most to prove going into next season? Stiles Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
The handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10-5. Touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sacktown Sports.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Live and local. Live and local. This is Sacktown Sports.
Did you find it, Chris?
Yeah, how many shots he took per game?
Yeah, was it 18 like you thought?
I didn't say 18, but yeah.
You said 15.
I said 15. I said near 15. It was at 11.6.
Does that make you feel better?
No, not really. Not especially. I just don't. The thought is he's just not going to be that high on the priority list for the Kings in terms of the people who are taking shots. I would just think De'Aaron's going to get his helping of shots. DeRozan is definitely going to get his helping of shots. I would imagine Keegan's probably going to take more shots. I would imagine Malik's going to take more shots. I would probably guess Sabonis and him are going to be near the same shot attempts, and I just think that's going to put him at around 7 or 8. And I think he's not a 3-point shooter. So I think that puts you at best around 13 to 15 points per game, which is great. That's fine. But I just don't know if I ever see Jonathan Kuminga being that guy that I think a lot of people think he can turn into. He was third on the Warriors in shot attempts last year behind Steph, Clay, and then him. He was just above Wiggins. Wiggins was at 11.0 and Kuminga was at 11.6. And in terms of the Kings, let me see where that would have put him in terms of King shot attempts last season. That would put him 11.6 would be 5th De'Aaron was at 20 point, we'll just call it 21. Sabonis was at 13. Keegan was at 12.7. Malik was at 12.4. HB was at 8.9. So again, I would assume that he probably takes, look, Kevin Huerter and HB, Kevin Huerter was at 8.8. HB was at 8.9. That's where I would assume Kuminga would probably fall. That's not even inserting DeRozan shot attempts.
To me, this is what I see. This is what I see for Jonathan Kuminga. Okay. What I see, and I'm looking at this guy. This guy had 11.9 field goal attempts per game. All right. Jalen McDaniels on the Timberwolves. Kuminga, to me, is a more athletic. You could give Jalen the defense, right? But I would say more athletic, comparable defensively, and more skilled offensive player. And Jalen McDaniels took
Jaden McDaniels. Jalen is the one the Kings got.
Yes. Well, then I have to look it up. Maybe it's all of these. The point is, I think that he could be that type of player, but a more skilled version of that type of player.
Definitely. I think so. I think that's kind of the hope is, again, he's defense first. And I think that's the most important part for potentially Kuminga. By the way, we're talking about the Warriors and Kings and Jazz allegedly in a Bleacher Report article. They proposed a 3-team trade that puts Jonathan Kuminga on the Kings, sends Kevin Huerter, Colby Jones to the Jazz, and gets Lauri Markkanen over to the Warriors.
His brother, Jaden McDaniels, he took, surprisingly, Chris, 10.9 field goals a game, which feels like a lot.
Really?
But they needed offense, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I have him at 8.7, but I think he's also a little bit more of he took 3.5 threes a game. Like I think he is a little bit more of a floor spacer than Kuminga is right now. I think Kuminga can be great. I just think, again, it's just a little bit too much of a what if. I like the fact Kuminga is still only 21 years old. He would be, I believe, the youngest player on the Kings even still. I'm pretty sure that's younger even than I'll have to check if that's younger even than Devin Carter, but I'm pretty sure he would still be the youngest player on the Kings, as crazy as that is. And he would be. Yeah, Devin Carter's 22 years old. So that is really exciting. Again, the fact that Kuminga can potentially evolve.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. By the way, that was
I already knew that.
That was a projection for Jaded. That was a 2025 projection from Basketball Reference, the 10.9 a game for Jaden McDaniels on the Timberwolves. But I'm saying sometimes that's what I'm saying. Where his ceiling is right now for Jonathan Kuminga and the age that he's at, I just don't. I don't, to be able to score the way he scored on decent volume, not ridiculous volume, and to do what he can do defensively, I just think it's a home run.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good trade. Like I said, I would do it. I just think that his offense isn't going to be the priority. That's not the thing I care about when I'm getting Jonathan Kuminga. I care about the athleticism, and I care about what he brings on defense. Everything he does on offense is gravy. We have Malik Monk. We have DeMar DeRozan. We have De'Aaron Fox.
Sure.
We have Keegan Murray. I don't need more offense. That's never been the thing the Kings need more of. They need somebody who can play next to Sabonis and cover up all of his deficiencies. I think Kuminga can be that.
There will
but
be
again,
nights.
I want somebody who that is what they're here to do. That's the priority. Unless it's just somebody who's so good offensively that we're just leaning into the offensive angle and pretty much forgetting about anything defensively.
This is what it comes down to with Jonathan Kuminga. And it's the same conversation that we talk about veterans have had with players and young players that aren't even in the league yet. Nobody has sat down, at least not to our knowledge. Nobody has sat down with Jonathan Kuminga and said, you are going to be a better Jaden McDaniels.
Yes. Yeah.
That's who you are in this league.
Right.
Because the Warriors don't know if they want to pay him or trade him, they're selling it like he's going to be this superstar.
Yes, right.
And you're going to be one of the do-it-all type guys.
Yeah, 100%.
So if you move him, there would have to be a conversation to say, look, brother, I know that this was the sell and you were supposed to be the savior out there in Golden State. I'm not going to say they lied to you, but they definitely omitted some things to you. And unfortunately, you didn't have enough. You're still young, but where you're at now, you're on the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
This is who we need you to be.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yes.
Straight up.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be a conversation of, oh, well, you're going to be one of our superstars. And that's not to say, I think you're eventually going to have that conversation with Keegan Murray. And we're about to get into this because of the Tim Bontemps article and how DeMar DeRozan could affect Keegan Murray's runway. These aren't slights, but the Warriors have been in this weird position where they wanted to prove that Bob Myers was actually good at drafting when he wasn't that good at drafting. And, we have this superstar. And like you said, you can go to G League right now and see a bunch of dudes like that is jumping out of the gym. Yeah. So I do it, but I would have a conversation with Jonathan Kuminga and say, this is who you're probably going to be in the league. Yeah. That's not to say we don't want you to be a Matisse Thybulle and you can't do anything offensively, but this is what is going to help you. Yeah. Right? When you have some of these guys that are, Denard Span and some of these dudes like that. Whoa, that's a blast from the past right there. MLB trade deadline. You trade for him right now. Maybe Farhan could afford him. You can hit a home run if you want, but we don't pay you to hit a home run. Right. We pay you to get on base so Aaron Judge can hit a home run. Yeah. Jonathan, we're paying you to be locked down. We're paying you to rebound. We're paying you to set that tone. And we're paying you to, when Keegan Murray is clank master flex and we do need offense, for you to be that change of pace guy offensively. We're not paying you to go out there and be Gordon Ramsay and cook. And if he's not, and I would have to know more about Jonathan Kuminga before I make that deal. Now that I think about it, because if that's what you want to be, then brother, the Wizards are waiting right there for you.
I feel like you just talked yourself into my side of the argument. You're spinning it like I'm not that's a positive that he hasn't been molded or told. But I would say that's what concerns me is that he's 3-4 years into his NBA career, and he still 22. Doesn't know what he should be.
But he's 22.
That's great. I mean, yeah, and again, that's why it's positive, because he does maybe have some room to grow, but at the same time, he was in the G League Ignite. He had 2 years with the Warriors.
The G League Ignite was trash.
That's my point. Let me make my point is that I think that it's a problem that he hasn't figured out who he is yet, and he doesn't have any clue. And I think the fact that the Warriors say, go ahead and do everything. I think that's because that's what Jonathan Kuminga wants to do, and he doesn't want to be the role player, which he probably should not. And he's going to be a really, really good, I don't mean role player in sense of diminish what he does, but just he probably should have already been leaned into this specific
he gonna learn
role.
Today.
Yeah, and I hope that's what he does, but that's what concerns me about the
when
move.
you talk about parenting and a tree is grow. My mom, they've always told me this: when you're driving down and you see a tree that's growing and it has no, when you have the stick next to it and there's a rope to make sure it grows straight. That is not, if there's no rope, that's not the tree's fault. Coming up next, who has the most to prove on the King season? Nate's mad at us. We got to get to a break. Stiles Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The Sacramento Kings play here.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead.
Get your Kings fix all season long right here on your home of the Sacramento Kings. Sacktown Sports at sacktownsports.com.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win. Unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion, persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khtk.com.
I would end the day with sore feet, sore legs. The drugstore inserts that I was purchasing were really not very useful at all. I walked into the Good Feet store and the guy kind of grinned at me and said, I hear that a lot. I was living with chronic pain before going to the Good Feet store. Now I don't really have that problem. I'm able to do the things that I expect to be able to do, even at my advanced age. I feel pretty good about what's going on.
The Good Feet Store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
We golfers tend to grumble too much. Golf Monthly's Nick Bonfield compiled our biggest complaints. They include our own game. The refrain, is it going to be another one of those days, should maybe be realigned and set about the next shot with positivity. Next is our equipment. We always blame our tools even though they were just along for the ride. Course conditioning is another gripe, and maybe you should try getting up while it's still dark, whether it's 108 or 32 degrees, and deal with global warming, limited budgets, and sustainability. And then go hug your superintendent for what they do. Dress codes get a lot of attention. Some feel the tradition should be maintained, and others are comfortable in T-shirts. It's a game, people. Also in the mix are rules of golf, slow play, the World Handicap System, tee time booking systems, bad luck, and more. I say you get out of it what you're willing to put into it. You're on a golf course, your phone's not ringing, and you might make a birdie or two. Enjoy the moment. There's lots of time left in the day for complaints. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
About to break down who has the most approve on the Kings, a little bit of Olympic updates, which we'll get more in depth here in about 15 minutes with a medal count. But the USA women's rugby team wins their first medal in Olympics history. The USA women's rugby team upset Australia for the bronze medal with the equivalent of a 99-yard touchdown as time expired. Absolute scenes. That was from Zach Cram. And hot off the press, Chris, the women's gymnastics team got it done again.
Yes, that's right. Gold medal for the gymnast for the females, and looked we have it on, we don't have the sound, and so it was a little tough to tell if they won or not. But watching some of their routines, I mean, they were flying, and it seems like that kind of came down to the last event as well. So excited to watch that in about 8 hours when it's on NBC primetime. Alan, can't wait.
USA. So basically they are airing it twice. Are we on Peacock right now, or
this is, I believe, NBC proper. So I believe
they are airing it twice.
Airing it twice. Yeah.
Got it. Yep. USA women's gymnastics win gold in team final. Simone Biles, most Olympic medals in USA gymnastics history.
Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean, I love it when goats get to actually do GOAT stuff like that. You know, when you are the greatest of all time, it's great when the record book shows it. And I mean, Simone has always been viewed as even when she was kind of first entering it, people were talking about how much of a prodigy she was. And I always, it's just crazy that we get to live in an era where we get to see, some of us get to see Jordan, LeBron, Michael Phelps,
Tiger.
You get Usain Bolt, you get Tiger, you get Serena. I mean, it's just crazy. And then, you can throw Simone Biles into that as well. Just an absolute GOAT. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And this is just, I believe she has a couple more events in which she could add to that. So, definitely exciting to see Simone get that done.
Yes, we will get that Olympic medal count for you coming up in about 15 minutes. But we did want to ask the question of who has the most approve on the Kings this upcoming season. What are your initial thoughts, Chris? I think there's an obvious answer, and I'm curious if we have the same answer.
Most approve. I mean, it's probably Keegan, just because he has to continue to develop and be a guy. I mean, De'Aaron, of course, always has something to prove until he leads the team to real success. I think people are always going to have questions on him. Those would probably be my two biggest answers, but I feel like Keegan is the answer that I'll go with.
Well, it's funny because it's proving something for different reasons. Keegan has to prove that the Kings are making the right decision by making him untouchable, right? De'Aaron,
or just in general, I mean, he needs to prove that he's still worthy of the number 4 pick. I mean, I think not necessarily that exactly, but I mean, he has a certain level of expectations, which I think he's just still is climbing towards.
But I would say if it was just on its face, it would probably be Kevin Huerter.
Sure, I guess, yeah. I just think priority-wise, it's not super important for Kevin to. If Kevin doesn't play well, I think the Kings can survive.
Well, most approved for the Kings or most approved for themselves? Because I think if you're Kevin Huerter, you're staring at a change in NBA role in the
No,
face.
I don't think it's a bad answer.
Right. If you do not ball out this season or don't get closer to your 2023 form, you're probably going to be a bench player on somebody's bench. And it probably won't even be in Sacramento.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, yeah, it's a good point for sure. He is fighting for his potential NBA starting job anywhere.
Right.
Yeah,
but
period.
To the Sacramento, that's why it's funny how you said that, because most approved, I guess, to the Kings versus most approved to themselves. I think that, yes, Keegan is more important to prove what he can be to the Kings, but I guess to themselves, I guess there's two different answers depending on how, or there's multiple answers depending on how you look at it. I think that Sabonis probably has the least amount to prove.
Yeah, I think so, right? Like, he showed up every day. Like, it was not his fault for anything last year. I mean, you can definitely continue to point at defense, but I think he made strides on that end, but he showed up every single night. I mean, there was not a night. I mean, all the double-double streak speaks to it. He brought his lunch pail every single day. I don't have any questions on Sabonis, his effort and what he's going to bring. So, yeah, I would definitely say he's got the least to prove, and maybe even Malik too. Maybe, though, you could definitely say, Malik, you still got to prove that this was not just you trying to get a bag.
Yeah.
Now it's you trying to prove you are at this level and you are legitimately always going to be this.
I don't think that Malik has anything to prove the same way that Kevin Huerter does.
No, yeah, correct.
But at the same token, I would say that we went through this a couple weeks ago with guys who had a couple good years and then fell off.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, so you definitely can't fall off.
No.
Right.
No,
we saw how quickly did we see a contract go from, wow, that's a steal, to, wow, they need to get off of that with one Andrew Wiggins.
Right.
Andrew Wiggins was a bargain when the Warriors signed it, and then right after, when he decided he was going to go back into his shell like a turtle, that this was a bad deal that the Warriors have still not, and they still can't.
Yep.
They still have not been able to get out of it. So I would answer saying it depends on who you're trying to prove something to. I would say proving something to the organization.
Or to fans even.
Or to fans.
Yeah.
Well, that's Kevin Huerter.
I'm sorry. I thought you were
Keegan is the organization.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Kevin Huerter is to
got
the
some
fans.
explaining to do.
And to himself. And to himself. Because when you come out and you say, oh, I wish I could have helped and this and that, he's coming off of injury.
Yeah.
Right. We've seen guys who, they started in the league for a couple years and the league caught up. And the question is, are you Pat Connaughton or who are you? Who are you?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a big year for him for sure. Like he can't have another down year, or else I think the Kings are going to have to move on from him, not just via trade, but like mentally they're going to have to say, well, maybe Kevin's not the guy that we thought he was or could be. Maybe he is going to be, like you said, I mean, he could turn into, Pat Connaughton. You look at Joe Harris's, you look at these guys
Joe Harris
completely fell off. I mean, these shooters who, if you can't shoot and you can't create space the same way you used to, what else are you bringing there? I mean, it's the question we asked about Kevin all season long. Like, we had to say his defense, his deflections, right? Like, it's not just
rebounding.
The rebounding. Well, he got 5 assists tonight. Like, that can't be it. It can't be good. That's not going to be good enough for Kevin Huerter. He's got to be a shooter. If he's not knocking down shots, I don't know what he's bringing at an NBA level, and I mean that with all the respect, because I do think Kevin is an NBA player. I think he can be a starter quality guy, but he cannot have the inconsistency that he had last year, or even just a bad season, because honestly, he's been pretty up and down in terms of his 3-point numbers month to month throughout his career, but it just can't be that low. He can go from 43% to 37%, but we can't have 33% from 3 months for Kevin Huerter, or else that's a real problem for him. I think it's a great answer. I mean, Keegan was the first thing that came to mind, just because that feels like every year his development for the next couple of years is going to be the most important thing for this team reaching their overall ceiling. Like we talk about all the time. I mean, there's people out there, Katie Christensen believes, and not just Katie, but Katie was on our show saying it. So we point to her saying that Keegan Murray, she thinks, can be an all-star one day. Keegan's got to still prove people like that right, that he's on that trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Kevin definitely has a ton to prove to the fan base that, and like you said, and to himself. He's coming off a shoulder injury. He's still got to show himself, okay, I can come back from this because, I can't imagine how tough it is to kind of get those shots up when you got a busted shoulder. It's got to hurt.
Coming up next, we go around the world of the Olympics with a medal count, and a local Little League is trying to make it to the big show. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out sacktownsports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on sacktownsports.com.
Sacramento, Dirks Bentley's coming to town. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo for Country in the Park 2. And he's bringing some friends. Parmalee, Tyler Rich, Dasha, Kelsey Hart, and more. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo. Get your tickets today before they're sold out at CITPFest.com. Brought to you by The Scoundrel Red Wine, Naturewood Home Furnishings, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers.
Celebrate Sacramento Rivercats baseball during our 25th anniversary season. Pick your favorite weekly promotion, giveaway game, or theme night, and join the fun at Sutter Health Park. Stick around post-game every Friday and Saturday night as we light up the sky with the brightest fireworks in town. For a full promotion schedule and to buy tickets, visit rivercats.com. We'll see you there.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
There was always a crowd gathered around our dining table when I was growing up. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. Everyone was welcome at my mother's table, so holidays, birthdays, and celebrations always included family and friends. I used to think I was the most popular kid in the neighborhood until I realized that my friends were really there for my mother's incredible cooking. Years later, when I bought my own dining table from Naturewood, I made sure it was large enough to make friends feel welcome. And right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings Dine in Style sale, you have an opportunity to find the perfect dining room furniture to help you create your own treasured memories. Choose from casual to formal or anything in between. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings during the Dine in Style sale off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Jason Mraz and the Super Band live. The mystical, magical, rhythmical, radical ride. Friday, August 9th, the venue at Thunder Valley. Jason Mraz and the Super Band with special guest Molly Miller Trio. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Jason Mraz and the Super Band in concert. Pick up the new album, Mystical, Magical, Rhythmical, Radical Ride.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text 916-339-1140.
Okay, Chris, that medal count looking nice right now.
We sitting up top? USA?
So it's USA at the top with 22.
That's right.
Olympic medals. I'm trying to look here to see who has the most gold.
Japan has 7.
Has the most gold
China
medals.
6. France with 5.
That's right. You have France kind of on our heels there a little bit. And you still have track to get to where people are going to be ready for that one. And yeah, a great start for the U.S. in this Olympic Games.
Yeah, absolutely love it. I mean, it's a little unfair. I think we send the most participants out there, so it's natural that we're going to win the most. But I'm not going to lie, Alan, I kind of want to see that gold count go up. I mean, I know like we usually do, we kind of start to boost the numbers a bit once, the basketball championship comes through and the track events kind of start to kick off. But I'm seeing that we are leading the Olympics right now in the bronze medal, and that's not the standard. We don't pay more money than everybody else into our athletics to get third place. And so, I'm going to be the ugly American right now and say, I am not here for your second and third place. I'm not here for your first and second losers. We need to up that gold count. And as I speak, it just up to 4. So there we go. They're hearing me.
So you have Simone Biles, who will go down as, I think, by far one of the best American Olympians of all time. For
sure,
probably one of the best Olympians
of
all time. And, what would you call this, a swan song pretty much at this point?
Probably, I would think so. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, she is, I think I said it yesterday, but she is the GOAT, and she is doing things that are tougher than, she's attempting things that are harder than anybody else is even doing. So I do wonder maybe if she has a little bit of, hey, I've definitely lost my step, but losing that step more puts me with the field. I wonder. I mean, I'm definitely no gymnastics aficionado or anything like that, but I do wonder if maybe even Simone at her 75, 80% is as good as most people at their 100. I wouldn't write her off, but I would assume, I think she's already a bit of an elder statesman when it comes to gymnastics. I would assume that this is probably her last.
Would you, not that it's perfect, but relatively speaking, would you compare what Simone is doing? I'm going to go there because he's in the Olympics too. Would you compare what Simone is doing to what LeBron is doing at his age? Or is it even more impressive for either one of them, really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much older she is than the rest of the competition. I just know that she has someone on her team who is 16 years old. So I can tell you that, again, it's typically a sport that does skew a lot younger. I mean, I would probably say what she's doing is a little bit more impressive. LeBron is in a team sport, and even though she did just do the team portion of the gymnastics, like as an individual, she is still leaps and bounds better than everybody else. I don't know if there's a one-on-one tournament. I don't know if LeBron is still winning that, which, by the way, that we might need to make that into Olympic sport. I might have just stumbled into something. Can we get some one-on-ones? Maybe we can get some of the and one ballers back out there or something like that to get one-on-one gold medal. That'd be incredible. We got 3-on-3. We got 5-on-5. You might as well make it 1-on-1. But yeah, I would think that Simone, what she's doing is probably more impressive than what LeBron's doing just because he has a whole team around him.
I got it right here. This is from Yahoo Sports. Biles heads into the 2024 Paris Olympics at 27 years old.
Wow. Okay, that's definitely up there.
Making her the oldest woman to compete for American gymnastics on that stage since 1952, the Helsinki Olympics. That year, the U.S. had 4 athletes over the age of 27, with Marie Margaret Holsley being the oldest at 35 years old. Now the question is,
sometimes we
won or not.
Probably didn't medal.
Right.
Especially Romanians out there sending 13, 14.
Yes, very impressive.
Yeah, that's incredible.
She has been able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't realize it was that big of a gap. I mean, that's incredible. 27 and to be doing that. Hats off to her, man. I mean, yeah, that's almost like Diana Taurasi is maybe even a good comp for that, where she's 42 and still, I think she's going for her 6th Olympic gold, Diana is. So, yeah, I mean, there's a couple people out there who are just absolutely breaking the mold. And I think as I was watching table tennis the other day, there was a 54-year-old, I believe, that was competing in that event. So, apparently, I didn't know this, but Olympics doesn't really have apparently tight restrictions on age. I'm sure there is an age limit, but I know they had that skateboarder who was 14 medal. So I would assume that the youngest you could be is 14, but it's cool to see, people in their 40s and their 50s even competing. I think that's awesome.
By the way, and shout out to Sacramento and the Sacramento area and the Olympians that are out there.
Yeah, for sure.
I followed this. Speaking of young athletes, I did not know. I mean, I knew about Nigel Houston and how dope he was at a young age. I did not know he was from the area.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. No,
I
believe he's straight from Elk Grove, if I'm not mistaken, or from the area. He I think I saw the other day won a bronze. So shout out him.
He's been doing it for a long time.
Nigel's the man, dude. Yeah. He's had I think his parents were just had him under wraps. Like he couldn't really do anything, so he would just skate every day, all day. And he was on this show, King of the Road, where they follow these skate teams all up Northern California, and it was cool seeing him skate here, in Rancho and stuff. It was on Vice. He's a cool dude for sure.
And you have some of the other athletes, Chris, that are from the greater area of Sacramento. You have Luca Orlando from Sacramento for swimming. You have, like we mentioned, Nigel Houston. You have Fiona O'Keefe from Davis. That's track and field. Michelle Sesher from Folsom in rowing. Alex Obert from Loomis for water polo. And I know you said there are a couple other ones out there, Chris, but
you got Erica Connolly from Modesto. You got Isaiah Pinheiro, who was a king for a hot second. I think for training camp, he's playing basketball for Puerto Rico.
Okay.
You've got Chelsea Gray repping for Team USA in the women's basketball. She's from Manteca. She went to St. Mary's High School, I know. And I believe you got the rest of them from what I'm seeing. So, yeah. A lot of Sacramento Olympians.
That's right. Shout out to them. And also, as we keep it local here, before we get back into some Kings talk, the Land Park Little League team has big dreams of heading to the World Series. They're 3 games away, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely insane. I heard Pat talking about it this morning on KNCI, and Alan, I know you're starting to get your feet in the Sacramento Little League scene a bit. You might need
Cordova on the way.
Hey man, next season they might have them, but Land Park Pacific 12U All-Star team clinched the Northern California Little League title last Thursday. They will now move into the West region of the tournament, and they definitely are a team to watch. And let's see here. The team will be playing the Hawaii champions, the Central Maui Little League, on Sunday at 3 p.m. I believe that's going to be on ESPN+.
See, man, I'm worried about that.
That's a little bit scary. Can't lie. I think Hawaii traditionally does pretty decently in these tournaments. They're expected to travel this Thursday, and they've set up a link in which you can help raise funds. I believe you can go over to the Land Park Little League website, and they have a little specific place where you can donate and help them with their travel and I believe just all travel related expenses. So definitely shout out to the Land Park Little League U12, possibly gonna be doing big things for Northern California in the Little League World Series.
The last time a team from Land Park Pacific Little League made it to the World Series was 1983.
Dang.
Which actually doesn't feel that crazy.
Kind of impressive, honestly. It's like, wow. I mean, of all North, and you were kind of explaining to me the other day because I'm a little bit shaky. So how exactly does this work? Is it the all-star team? Is it just
I
handpicked?
remember it, and if somebody this was a long time ago for me, but how I remember it is, okay, so Land Park Little League, Land Park Pacific Little League, they have their Giants team, they have their Dodgers team, they have their league.
Right.
The all-stars from that league form an Avengers team to play other Little Leagues in the area.
Gotcha.
You win that tournament. Then you play probably the Bay Area kids. You win that tournament. And then you play California, the rest of California, and then they have the West region.
My goodness.
And that's how it goes. So it's the ballers.
That's a lot of baseball.
Yes, so it's the ballers from your basically your all-star
Your
team.
league.
That's how I remember it. But again, if somebody remembers, or is more recent to it, maybe I have it incorrect. But that's how I remember. And you learn real quick, Chris, that
I'd imagine, right?
You are nothing special, right? Or you are, because I'm rolling up because this is the best of the best in your league. So that one kid who is already 6'2", who throws the MLB equivalent of 92, you're thinking, okay, we got him. Yep. We got me at the top of the order. We got the other big kid, our 3-hitter. Yep. We're cooking. Then we get out there, and everybody got the same thing. Yeah, they got the same thing, but it's better. Yeah, but it's better.
Some 6'1" kid who's like, wow, okay, I don't know. That kid.
Yeah, that's their center fielder.
Yeah.
Oh, your first
got Rowdy Tellez out there. It's like, wait, hold on.
And then they have the picture, the I Am 12. Yeah. The I Am 12 picture. So
shout out bench warmers.
That's right.
Great movie. Yeah, and apparently they need 3 more wins before they punch their ticket to the Little League World Series. So definitely rooting for them. They have they first have to get their win their next tournament this weekend in San Bernardino. So we'll definitely be checking that one.
And then they go?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what this report is saying. Yeah.
Land Park Pacific Little League, shout out to you, wishing you all the best. Coming up next, an ESPN survey of the best and worst offseason moves. Tim Bontemps writes it all out and gives an breakdown from an executive who, of course, didn't put their name on it, from the Eastern Conference, that says that the Kings may have made the wrong gamble. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Keegan Murray is Sacktown Sports.
Out to Keegan Murray, straight away for 3, and Keegan knocks down the triple.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Keegan Murray, and you're listening to the home of Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Where do you go when you need someone to represent you? For me, you want someone that is local and that you can actually get to and talk with. There are plenty of big branded lawyers out there with the name, but you never get to talk to them. So go to saclegaldefense.com and connect with the law offices of Jonathan Gonzalez. He's local, he'll represent you, and he'll have your back. Whether it's expungements, wrongful termination, when you're in a spot when you need legal help, call the law offices of Jonathan Gonzalez at 916-304-9187.
If you've been on the American River, it's uphill, it's downhill. There's trails everywhere that you can walk, and it just makes you happy. And I couldn't walk, and it was terrible. I was turning into a real crab. I went to the Good Feet store, and I tried on the arch supports. I could not believe that I was not in pain. I can walk, I can run, I can jump, I can do anything. My name's Terry, and that's my Good Feet story.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Jerry and Kenny here. When you call Bell Brothers for an AC tune-up, repair, or replacement, let me tell you what you can expect. Clean.
Our technicians will show up in a company truck that's clean inside and out. They'll be wearing a clean uniform and ring your doorbell with clean hands.
The technician will be clean cut, background checked, drug tested, and trustworthy to enter your home. They'll put on clean shoe covers and put down drop cloths in all work areas. That's right, to make sure your home stays clean.
And when the work is complete, they'll tidy up and leave the work area cleaner than they found it.
Call us neat freaks. Call us spick and span. Call us tidy, pristine, and immaculate.
But whatever you do, call Bell Brothers for an AC tune-up and repairs, because with us, you can count on it being clean. Call us at 916-444-1234 or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
KHTKAM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
So some pictures and things coming out from the Olympics. Simone Biles' husband, NFL player Jonathan Owens, and her parents celebrating USA Gymnastics winning gold. Great stuff there. And by the way, quickly, just on the Niners training camp, Brock's having a much better day.
Oh, good.
Brock is having a much better day. Very nice deep ball to Deebo Samuel I saw, and he was just cooking today.
I felt like he was slipping from 28 to like 32, so thank God he had a good day at training camp.
That's right. That's right.
He was going to go down on my list, too.
Yeah. If anybody
Crazy.
was worried about that, no need to worry. Brock is having a bounce-back day.
What about Josh Dobbs? Anything on him?
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. The training camp thing,
who cares?
It's literally a buffet.
Yeah.
It's literally, let's take this, let's pick that, let's hold that, let's eat that.
Everything is so scenario based too.
Yeah.
And it's touch football. It's just not the same. It is not the same at all.
You know, that's why being out here in Sacramento, you know, with the Kings and how much power the Kings hold over the city, and they continue to get better and bigger each and every year. I'm just glad we can do that, and we don't have to be just, obviously we're going to talk Niners, but we don't have to be completely immersed in every single thing in training camp, because it's practice. We're talking about practice. We're literally talking about practice.
I love that this isn't a thing for the Kings either. That the NBA doesn't have this like where you're analyzing every practice in the preseason. Oh, DeMar went 7 for 18 today.
And this
He's
is
going to be
sport,
trash,
right? And this is the only sport where the practices prior to the season means this much.
Yeah.
And the preseason.
Look at college NCAA. They literally air Alabama's scrimmages against themselves.
Spring ball.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. It's so silly. It's the NFL and football is so concentrated that anything you can get is like
the only thing I guess I
beautiful.
would argue is because of how violent the game is, and because it is so compact, everything means more, right?
Yeah.
The same way every game means more, every practice means more, right? Training camp doesn't mean anything for baseball or basketball because you still got to deal with 82 games. Everything matters more, apparently.
Well, and I think, too, like in football, I think there's a little bit more of a difference, like a stark contrast of practice versus actual gameplay, too.
Yes.
Like, and I'm more speaking from experience. Like, I remember my freshman football coach telling me, you know, Watkins, like, you're not really a practice player, are you? And like, I kind of at first didn't understand what he was saying, but then I did, because games are just so much more fun, and like it's less concentrated. It's just a whole different environment. You can kind of go through the motions in practice, but especially in football, once the game's going on, you're going 100%, right? Like there's no taking any time off, or else you could get hurt. Like if you're not going your 100% off, you don't have your head on your swivel, you could get hurt. And I think that could maybe be a factor in it too, is that, you might look a certain way in practice or doing shell drills or whatever, but once game time happens, you might be literally a completely different player. Like I'm sure Deebo Samuel, you don't get the full Deebo Samuel experience in practice because of how physical he is. In a game, he's a completely different monster.
You can't. You can't just be out there hurting your guys.
Exactly.
Like Deebo does.
He can't be trucking his teammates.
Yeah. It's more of a finesse thing in practice. Get the mechanics down.
Right.
Get out there. get your smelling salts, go crazy.
Alan Stiles, can I just throw you as it's MLB trade deadline day? The Giants have made a trade. It's not a massive one.
Do I press it?
No. It's we don't even have the details of who they got. It's another one of those, which tells you the Giants didn't get the best player out. The Cleveland Guardians are finalizing a deal to acquire right-hander Alex Cobb from the San Francisco Giants. That's from Jeff Passan. That just happened about 3 minutes ago. So yeah, continuing to sell players off.
Alex Pavlovich. Well, they're not selling. That's what we were
That's
told.
right. That's right. I'm sorry.
Alex Pavlovich. Cobb was supposed to debut this weekend, but Giants want to slide Hayden Burnsong back into the rotation. I don't mind that. Yeah. I just want to know if this is another salary dump or if the Giants actually got some players that are worth anything. So we will see what Jeff Passan follows up with as far as the Giants getting young talent to add to the essentially the young core that they currently have. All right, Chris, as Tim Bontemps broke all of this down, it was a really good piece, but it did lead us to ask some tough questions. An ESPN survey, best and worst NBA offseason moves. So this was all based from NBA execs, Chris? The votes?
Let me read here. This is let's see here. This is ESPN.
Because I know they had the big quote. The NBA Eastern Conference exec had the big quote about DeRozan and Keith.
Right. This says ESPN had the chance to chat with 18 NBA coaches, scouts, and executives to get their opinion on the most impactful summer moves and what they mean for the 2024-25 season. From the best moves to the worst moves of the summer to the continued impact of the new collective bargaining agreement and the chase for the presumptive 2025 first overall pick, Cooper Flagg. Here's what league insiders are buzzing about as we enter the heart of the offseason, Tim Bontemps writes. And there's plenty of different topics and questions in which they survey for. Do we just want to get to the King stuff or do we want to glaze over the entire thing first?
Well, let's see what they're saying because that'll help us based on what they're saying about the Kings.
Very
saying about other teams.
Okay, so who had the best NBA offseason? 8 votes for the Philadelphia 76ers, who ended up winning this. 5 votes for the New York Knicks, 3 votes for the Thunder, and 2 for the Boston Celtics. Of course, the big move for the 76ers is the acquisition of one Paul George, as well as a couple other smaller pieces as well. The Knicks obviously making the McHale trade, the Thunder making that the Isaiah Hartenstein signing and the Alex Caruso trade as well. Who had the NBA's worst offseason? You got 1 vote for the Pistons, 1 for the Knicks, 1 for the Lakers, 4 for the Clippers, 5 for the Chicago Bulls, and winning for the worst NBA offseason. I don't think I had this one on my board. The Denver Nuggets. Similarly, the majority of votes went to 3 teams. Denver, after seeing KCP leave as a free agent to the Orlando Magic. Chicago losing Caruso and DeRozan, as well as not getting the best assets in that trade. And then, that's really kind of all they put on that. So it's majorly about them losing KCP. And apparently people are thinking, execs, scouts, and coaches are saying that they think that's going to be the biggest impact loss of this offseason. The best move of the offseason, you get 1 vote for Mikal Bridges going to the Nets. You get 1 vote for Rob Dillingham going to the Timberwolves. 2 for KCP to the Magic. 3 for Jalen Brunson extending with the Knicks. You have 5 votes for Alex Caruso to the Thunder. You get 6 votes for Paul George signing with the Sixers. So no Kings love
anywhere.
With the best move of the NBA offseason. That hurts. What was the worst move, however, the one that you don't want to get love on? Let's see here. We get 1 vote for Chicago's part in the Alex Caruso-Giddey trade. You get 1 vote for Isaiah Hartenstein signing with OKC. Wow. You get 1 vote for the Lakers' inactivity. You get 1 vote. This is, wow. 1 vote for Evan Mobley's extension in Cleveland. Wow. Okay.
What are the options here?
I think it's just free reign. Want. It's literally, I think it's a write-in.
Yeah.
New Orleans Pelicans trading for DeJounte Murray. Didn't hear much discourse about that. This is, again, the worst NBA move of the offseason as voted by scouts, coaches, and execs. Mikal Bridges to the Knicks got 2 votes. Denver losing KCP gets 2 votes. Paul George signing with the Sixers gets 3, as well getting 3 votes. Chicago's part in the DeMar DeRozan trade. And tied for first place, Sacramento's part in the DeMar DeRozan trade, leading the league in what was the worst move of the NBA offseason. And that brings us to the quote that circulated yesterday via social circles on Keegan Murray. I'll just read the entire passage. Again, this is voted what was the worst move of the NBA offseason. 3 votes tied for the lead for Sacramento's part in the DeMar DeRozan trade. They write, this was perhaps the most interesting slate of results with 10 different answers. Ironically, the voting was led by 2 different parts of the same trade. The Bulls moved DeRozan and watched the Spurs come away with the only significant assets in the trade. As for Sacramento, those who cited the deal didn't like the fit of DeRozan with the Kings. Quote, here it is. This is a quote from an East executive explaining why they picked that deal. He said, the opportunity cost of not giving runway to Keegan Murray said an East executive explaining why they picked that deal, quote, and a bad bet on the fit. And then they go on to talk about Paul George and the Sixers. George to the Sixers tabbed as the best move of the offseason, had 3 of the worst move, 3 votes for the worst move. Wasn't an argument on talent, but rather the risk of giving a 4-year, $212 million max deal to a 34-year-old player. A scout said, quote, I think he's on the decline. A West scout said about Paul George. So again, on the Kings front, the cited reason why the Kings are tied for the most votes for the worst offseason move is they said that the deal, they didn't like the fit of DeRozan with the Kings and, quote, the opportunity cost of not giving runway to Keegan Murray, and it's a bad bet on the fit. So there you go. I don't believe the Kings are mentioned in any of these other ones. They have what was the most surprising move. Lead vote getter was Mikal Bridges in that trade. What was the biggest trend? 12 people voted for teams navigating the new luxury tax aprons. They also ask on a scale from 1 to 5, how effective have the new CBA rules been this offseason? Leading vote getter was 4 of 5 in terms of effectiveness. Where will there be an increased tanking ahead of the 2025 draft? 10 scouts, execs, and coaches voted yes. So there you go. That's the Cooper flag. Capture the flag is my favorite Cooper flag tanking moniker, I guess you can call it. So yeah, there you go. There you have it. Kings, number 1 voted worst move of the offseason, tied technically for first. But yeah, people
tied with who?
Tied with Chicago's part in the DeRozan trade
and Denver,
and tied with Paul George signing with the Sixers, which is interesting.
Yeah, that one to me, he wanted that money. He got a lot of money. Yeah. So that one, I understand. Money. Chicago, I get because they're a mess. But as far as the Kings are concerned, look, man, you know, we were really excited that the Kings did something. And when you add someone that is a straight up baller and a straight up scorer, we know that's something that the Kings were missing as far as that piece to the puzzle and what Harrison Barnes was and was not bringing to the table. But there are some questions about the fit, right? And we can't be homers here, right? Even though we are the home of the Sacramento Kings, we have to keep it real, and that's what we're going to do when we return. The question is, how good is the fit of DeMar DeRozan, and how much do you care about whether or not it affects the future and the runway and everything that comes with having young talent such as Keegan Murray? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains tocopherol, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
Continuing to break down this survey from NBA execs and coaches, and don't go anywhere as we get back into some Niners very shortly. Things change so quickly here in the matter of a 10 to 15 minute segment. Brock Purdy has cooled off a little bit, so we will give you the update there as we are being a bit facetious and having some fun with the ups and downs of training camp, but we're also keeping you informed on what is happening. So hold on, we will get to that as well as we recap what happened in this NBA survey put on by ESPN and Tim Bontemps. Long story short, there are people, and we've heard this before in different ways, there are execs and coaches that don't really get the DeMar DeRozan thing for different ways. Some think that it's a bad fit, maybe offensively and defensively for that matter. Some also think it could stifle the growth of one Keegan Murray. Now, Chris, we like to discuss the Michael Porter Jr. conversation and how Michael Porter Jr., we know he had injuries, things like that, but Michael Porter Jr., there are a lot of people that thought he could have really been something in this league. He gets into the league, and maybe the injuries are being a bit understated, but when he got to the Nuggets and everybody kind of fit a role, Michael Porter Jr. was not needed to be this all-around all-star guy. He can shoot the mess out of the ball, but that's what he's there to do. No Nuggets fans, and if there are any double agents out there listening, feel free to call in 916-339-1140. But nobody talks about Michael Porter Jr. What could have been. Maybe they'll talk about it now because they might move in the wrong direction as they got some bad votes too. But for the most part, you win and nobody asks questions. Yeah. He did his job. The difference is, Chris, if you're going to sacrifice the future of one of your young pieces, you want to know what you're sacrificing it for. And ultimately, the question becomes, is sacrificing Keegan Murray's runway, is it worth it to be a second-round exit, right? It's different if you win the whole thing, but sacrificing someone's future to be a second-round exit is not the same as sacrificing someone's future to be an NBA champion and a legit contender, which then goes back to my conversation of going all in if that's the case. But when you read all this, Chris, and when DeRozan was initially announced to the Kings, we've talked about the fit a good bit, but how much did it worry you about Keegan Murray?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely crossed my mind for sure. I mean, you know, especially as just in general, we talk about Keegan in his development needing to kind of have a little bit of a playground to work with. Like, you kind of have to let Keegan make some mistakes in order for the sake of him further developing. But I mean, for me, this just kind of kills the immediate dream of like Keegan Murray can become an all-star in the next 2 years. I just think that is the stifling that happens with Keegan's development. I don't think Keegan becomes some irrelevant player after this. Like, I do think it's being overblown. I think, again, kind of like what I said about Kuminga, to me, this just trims the fat of all of Keegan's game. I just don't need to see Keegan Murray take, dribble pull-up shots from the mid-range anymore. I don't need to see Keegan Murray really try and make an effort to develop some sort of course he needs to develop some sort of game at the rim, but it doesn't become as big of a priority. So for me personally, I actually think this helps Keegan a lot because we saw last year, there was just a lot of things going on in Keegan Murray's head. You could see him thinking as he was playing, and I just think he just needs the game simplified. And I think that's what DeMar's going to do. So yeah, Keegan probably won't take 12 and a half shots like he did last year. Maybe he does. Maybe he hovers around that, but I would assume he definitely takes a back seat in terms of his offensive importance. And I just think he becomes a little bit more of a spot up shooter, which is what he's good at. I think, again, just making his game more efficient to me isn't bad for Keegan Murray. It's bad if you think he has all of these other skills that he can showcase, but I think that you were going to have to, if you were going to showcase those things, I think you were going to have to take some lumps along the way. And I just think this pushes that back a little so that he can work on those things behind the scenes. And then when he's really ready to showcase it, he can. Or if he never develops it at all, it just becomes okay, because it would have been a problem if we're force feeding, hey, Keegan needs to be a better a presence around the rim, and we have to deal with Keegan Murray shooting 45% around the rim. That's not productive to me. Again, it more just highlights now, Keegan, you do what you're good at, and if you need to throw in a little extra sauce, go ahead, but it's not a requirement. We don't have to see these things out of Keegan because we have other players now who can fill in those gaps.
Yeah, I think that it removes, not to be, I guess, disrespectful, but it removes the facade of Keegan Murray being this all-around all-star player, and he
offense,
can be,
defense,
he can
handler,
be Jason Tatum, and he can do all this stuff. It removes that facade, and it just says, hey, Keegan, be good at these three things, and you will have a very long career, right, and a very successful career. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, how many superstars and all-stars does anybody think that a team is going to have? So now, we got Sabonis. He's an all-star superstar. We got De'Aaron Fox. He's an all-star superstar. And now we just drafted Keegan Murray. He's going to be one too. The numbers show that, and DeMar. The numbers show that's just not realistic.
No.
That's not realistic. And these teams, this is not the Drew League, and we'll talk about some of DeMar's stats there. There has to be a system and a flow. And you almost saved yourself from yourself if you're the Sacramento Kings. And I would say, as we talked about that Bleacher Report blockbuster deal with Kuminga, maybe the Warriors would be better off if they had to put Kuminga into some type of role. Maybe there are situations where guys play themselves out of the role, and they're just so good. Right. We didn't expect this person or this player to do this, and that. They can do more than what we expected. But the idea that these young players are just going to be, well, as the old saying goes, and I suffered from this at a young age, jack of all trades, master of none.
Yep.
We do not need Keegan Murray to be a jack of all trades, master.
Dole Swiss Army knife, right?
Yeah, the Dole Swiss Army knife. We just watched that.
Yeah.
We just watched that, and it didn't work.
No. Yeah.
It didn't work. So
be a specialist.
What I would ask these execs, and who knows who these execs are, maybe the exec wanted DeMar DeRozan. Right. Maybe the exec, feels a specific type of way about Keegan Murray.
Maybe it's a Bulls exec.
Maybe it's a Bulls exec. When you talk to the league about Keegan Murray, he's on these lists. He's on these 25 under 25. But what is he? What is he, number 19 and 22? Like he's not. We're not talking about, oh my gosh, why would the Timberwolves bring in DeMar DeRozan and now Anthony Edwards isn't going to be able to flourish? I just don't think that's what we're looking at with Keegan Murray.
100%.
And I think that's okay.
I think it's totally fine. I think Keegan can be a again, like I think role player might have a bad connotation to it, but it's not. It just means that you're really, really good and you can be a cog in a championship team. And I think Keegan Murray, he can be more than that. Like you said, you can play yourself out of being a role player, but I think at the very least, just simplifying the game helps you so much, even if it's just mentally making you relaxed. I mean, Keegan Murray, does Keegan seem like somebody who is going to thrive under pressure with the weight of the world on his shoulders?
Not right now.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so right now. I think he's kind of somebody who you could see with how quiet he is, probably in his head a lot. He's probably always thinking, oh man, like how can I be better? Oh man, I hope this doesn't reflect that on me. And also constantly thinking, I need to show that I'm better. I have to do these things. And when you fail, when you don't shoot the three ball how you typically shoot, I'd imagine it gets you pretty severely. I think just simplifying the game for him is going to go a really long way. I think he's going to play loose. He's going to play relaxed. It then also frees him up to be more of that defensive stopper that I think the Kings need him to be. I just think that DeMar only helps Keegan. And of course, he's going to take away some shots, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because it's not like those shots are just going to somebody who's just chucking it up. DeMar DeRozan's a damn good scorer, and I have no problem with Keegan's shots going to DeMar.
I understand it from this perspective, right? but there's only so much that you can do at one time.
Yeah.
You can't try to be better and compete for a championship and develop young talent, right? And make sure that everybody eats.
A lot of
okay.
hats.
You can't do everything at one time.
Yeah.
All right. The Kings are deciding we are starting to go for it
we
at
wanna
some
win.
level.
Yep.
We want to win. We would like for Keegan to have a runway, but how many young dudes on winning teams have runways?
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
No.
You're either on a trash team and you have all the runway you
Go
want,
ahead.
or you don't have the same runway.
Yep.
That's why the Michael Porter Jr. comparison to me is so spot on, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about we have to win. We're going to sacrifice Michael Porter Jr. doing whatever the heck he wants to win. Now, the difference is the Nuggets won the whole thing.
Yep.
If you're sacrificing Keegan Murray, you better do more than just get to the first round. That's
Sure,
what I'd say.
No, for sure.
But I am not of the mindset that Keegan Murray was going to be this all-around superstar anyway.
Right.
And again, that's not a slight. I think Keegan Murray could be one of the most prolific three-point shooters in the league.
Yep.
That doesn't also mean that he was going to be able to be a lockdown defender and he was going to be able to cook you off the dribble and he was going to be able to yam on you as well.
Yeah, can't do it every day.
Most guys don't do that.
No, and there's nothing wrong with it.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
So I understand what these execs are saying in some capacity. My question back would be, well, what do you want? What do you think the Kings should focus on?
Yeah,
because they have De'Aaron Fox, who's in his prime.
Yep.
They have Sabonis, who's in his prime, and they're trying to win.
Yep.
So Harrison Barnes, who was the player? Okay, Harrison Barnes would have disappearing acts. Okay, so Keegan would have runways on certain days. We just watched that.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to move off of Harrison Barnes. But DeMar DeRozan needs the ball too much. So who is the middle ground between Harrison Barnes and DeMar DeRozan to where Keegan doesn't have that much pressure so you can still win, but Keegan still has a runway? It's not possible.
No, you got to pick one. And I'm perfectly fine with them prioritizing winning first. And you know what? If Keegan can't fit into a winning situation, which I'm pretty sure he can, then that's bad on Keegan. That means that Keegan is going to have a problem at some point in his development anyway. I think it's totally fine. If exactly like you said, I mean, as long as they're winning, I've got no problem with Keegan Keegan's overall development taking a back burner. And that doesn't mean that it's not happening. It's just not, hey, we're going to actively take possessions out of this game in order to prioritize Keegan trying something new, getting out of his comfort zone. It's just about winning every single possession. And I think they learned we can't waste games. We wasted so many games last year. You can argue that they almost wasted half the season on trying to get Keegan to a certain level. And then we saw in game 42, Harrison Barnes all of a sudden is having a week where he's scoring 30 points willy-nilly and beating the Warriors himself. I think that it's okay to prioritize winning first and foremost. And yeah, if Keegan develops alongside of it, that's awesome. If he doesn't, oh, well, we're trying to win basketball games, and as long as we're winning, that's what's important.
Updates on Niners spring training coming up next. Or training camp, excuse me, that's baseball. We also have some MLB trade deadline stuff as well. And the Guardian caps will be able to be worn in-game, fair or foul. Come on, it's health. It could never be foul. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Our first year as the radio home of the San Francisco 49ers is one we will never forget.
It's a toss to McCaffrey, a cutback 130, breaks 340. McCaffrey midfield. McCaffrey 40, 30, 20, and toasted all the way down to the 3-yard line on the first play of the game. CMC Dynamite!
Congratulations to the 49ers on a terrific year. And thank you for so many wonderful memories.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over. And if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer Duster. Love it or your money back.
Celebrate Sacramento Rivercats baseball during our 25th anniversary season. Pick your favorite weekly promotion, giveaway game, or theme night, and join the fun at Sutter Health Park. Stick around post-game every Friday and Saturday night as we light up the sky with the brightest fireworks in town. For a full promotion schedule and to buy tickets, visit rivercats.com. We'll see you there.
Quick Quack Car Wash takes the drama out of keeping your car clean.
Let's wash the car. Don't spray the hose inside the car. Oh.
Our convenient wash packages make it easy to get your car soaked, scrubbed, and on your way. Protect your car from sun, rain, and pollen with a ceramic duct wash and get our in-wash light show and an unbeatable clean.
Oh, the kids filled the gas tank with water.
Of course they did. Quick Quack Car Wash. Come in today and get 25% off any wash.
Whitey here reminding you that not all gas grills are created equal. Bring out all the delicious flavors in your grilled meats with the amazing Napoleon Prestige and Prestige Pro line of outdoor cookers. My Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill has turned me into a grilling pro with features other grills cannot match. They're built different, built better, built to last. Made with premium stainless steel that boasts quality and a lifetime warranty. I may never want to cook indoors again. Napoleon grills and accessories are now available at your nearby Amy's, Ace Hardware in Sacramento, and now El Dorado.
Sponsored by Xfinity Internet. Enjoy ultimate control of your home network. Personalize your Wi-Fi name and password. Assign user profiles. View and control connected devices and more with the Xfinity Internet app.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
It has taken a turn for Brock Purdy. It appears as though his day may be done. His day is done. After that stretch of great quarterback play, Brock cooled off a bit, throwing 4 picks in 5 throws. And again, context matters, and they're working on different things. I know one was going to be a coverage sack. So to me, Brock said, I'm just going to let it fly because, again, we talking about practice. This is from Rob Lauder, who is talking 49ers on Blue Wire. He says Brock Purdy was having a nice bounce-back practice until he wasn't. Started 8 of 8 with a deep completion and a huge touchdown to Debo. Finished 2 of 8 with 4 interceptions and another that should have been. 3 of the turnovers were the ones you wince at. So he's taking chances, right? He's taking chances. That's just what he does, and we will continue to keep you up to date. But just know when we give you these breakdowns, right, if you're driving in your car and you're unable to get updates, we are not sitting there saying Brock Purdy is going to be X because he played well, or Brock Purdy is going to be Y because he did not play well. It is practice after all, but people love football. And we're going to give you those updates. But do people love football when it looks a different way, Chris? Guardian caps now have skull caps to go over the top of them and make them look more like game helmets. I've seen a picture. They still look pretty funny. I'm not going to lie.
Sure do.
Which may be part of the planning for them to actually become game helmets. That was from Albert Breer. And if I recall, I can't remember, was it Feliciano or somebody on the Niners said you better not be caught dead wearing those. And that's just look, these guys are playing football at the highest level. I don't think it's a fair foul, but what is your take on the helmets? Obviously CTE is something that plagues the NFL, and they're trying to do so much to make it safer. But do you think anybody is going to wear these?
I will say they look a lot better. Looking at the picture of it right now, I see the I think it's the one that Albert Breer put up of the Chargers. Like, it does look less foolish and less obvious. I think that was kind of the problem, is that it was just a little bit too stark of a difference from what we're used to seeing. And with the little bonnet, as I guess you could call it, on the cap, it looks more like your typical helmet. I think it does actually help. And I wouldn't I mean, I'm not really somebody. I do love the aesthetic of how sleek it can look with just the bare helmet, I guess is what we'll call it these days. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem if especially on the line. I'm surprised that it's not a mandate, honestly, with how often they're, bumping heads, even if it's on accident. Like I would think that if I'm an offensive lineman, I would definitely rock it, and I wouldn't care about who says what. I don't care about John Feliciano thinking I'm soft.
Right.
I'm a 280-pound offensive lineman. Go ahead. We'll put our hand in the dirt and we'll see who's soft. If wearing a bonnet makes you like, come on, get out of here with that toxic garbage. I think it's fine. I could definitely see them doing a little experiment in the preseason. Now, if you get to the regular season, I can maybe see how, as terrible as this is to say, like from a marketing perspective, it just doesn't look as cool. And I think that, honestly, as crazy as that sounds, really might be a hindrance for them doing it, because I don't see why another reason why you wouldn't do it.
Do you think it would be unrealistic if this made its way to college and high school? I mean, my idea is you want to limit the amount of hits these kids get. For sure. And if you say, especially if you're a skill position player, you got to learn how to get tackled. But if you're somebody who's playing flag football until high school, then you get to high school and you get to wear these helmets. And let's say you're good enough to play college. That's only 8 years. I don't want to say only, but that's 8 years of tackle football with these Guardian helmets. And then you make a decision once you get to the NFL. I look at it more so about that. The NFL players, they're millionaires. They're going to do what they want. Either you're going to wear it, and hey, look, maybe it's something to wear. Hey, when I was a younger guy and I thought I could, take the hits when I was fresh out of college. Now I'm 29 years old. I got a kid. I got a couple kids. I got a family.
Want to walk straight.
I'm going to wear it. I'm going to wear it. So I think that it's not necessarily black and white. You have to wear it now or you're never going to wear it. Right. I do think there's some guys who I might wear it. It could be a thing where I might wear it later in my career, right? Or very similar to, when was it, Giancarlo Stanton got hit in the face like 2 times, and he wore that. I don't know if he still. I think he finally stopped wearing it, but he wore it for a really long time because maybe it's a guy that did get a concussion, thought, okay, I'm going to start wearing it, very similar to what Wes Welker did. So I think that it's, in general, it's good. I don't think it has to be black and white. Either you'll never wear it or you're wearing it now. I think it could be, my thought on things have changed, and I don't need to wear it when I'm trying to look good and I'm young and I'm this and I'm that. I'm not going to wear it. But hey, man, I'm 29. I'm 30 years old. I got a couple years left. I'm looking here at, my kiddos, and I'm looking at my family in general, my brothers, my sisters, and my parents get older, and this is where I want to go. So I think it could be something where it's just maybe older players wear it. And I don't think that's crazy to think.
No, I think I really like your idea of starting it at the youth level. Like that makes the most sense to me. I mean, that feels like when your brain is still developing and when you could probably do the majority of the damage, right? Is when you're young. And I mean, there's plenty of cases with CTE. It's not just ex-NFL players. You have kids who just played high school football, just played college football, and they'll show signs of it when they look at their brains. And I think it's a really good idea. I think the only problem is football is already so expensive of a sport. You see every school out there pretty much is eliminating their freshman team and only doing JV. And I think it's mainly because of the cost of football. I mean, those are 65 of these Guardian helmets, and then these caps that you have to get specially made for your team in your school. Like it's a really expensive cost of entry. And I think that's really the only problem for it. But Alan, what is what's the cost of safety? Like, I think that it's definitely worth it. And I think you're spot on with the NFL. I think that it probably will be something that's a bit of an elder statesman thing. I mean, do you see the helmet that George Kittle's wearing these days? There's nothing cool about he got going on his head. It looks like an eagle or something like that with his helmet. And I think Bosa has a similar thing. So I'm sure that, to your point, there's a lot of people who say, yeah, swag be damned. I don't care. I'm trying to protect my brain so that I can walk around with my kids, so I can, enjoy life. I mean, even if you don't have kids, you can just want to live a healthy post-career. And yeah, I've got no problem with it. I think it's again, I think it's toxic if guys aren't wearing it because it doesn't look cool or it makes you look soft. who cares, man? Like it's much bigger than that, and it's about extending your career as well. So I don't see what's not cool about being a 12-year NFL vet instead of having to retire.
That's
like
true.
Chris Borland because
yeah.
you got too many head injuries.
What's ironic too is John Feliciano was the one who said that stuff about the skull cap, and he wears that ugly helmet that Kittle and Bosa wear.
So there's a line of
coolness
protecting your.
I think it's just like a slow, gradual. Like you hated it first, but then you accept it.
Right.
You know.
I don't think he was fined, but do you think that the NFL, if they're going to produce this stuff, they should fine players from basically bullying other players to not wear it? Do you think that was a finable tweet, or am I being soft?
I don't think you're soft. I just think it's a little bit of a slippery slope.
I don't think it's you. I think it's the NFL. I think the NFL would do it. Am I saying that it's cool? Probably not. It's soft, yeah, but I think the NFL would do that. I think they'd be like, Feliciano, it's $15,000 out of your pocket.
Yeah,
man.
you
What are
can't
you
say
doing,
that. You
man?
can't say stuff like that.
What are you doing? Yeah, so
I don't see why not. I mean, you have the right of your opinion.
no, I do. I totally agree with that. I just think that's what the NFL would do.
True.
But like, it's not. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's still just an opinion. It's not necessarily. I mean, yeah, I guess he's bullying, but I don't.
Yeah.
You can't have it be propaganda and just only have people come out and say, this is awesome, this is great, it feels awesome, don't notice anything. Like, I think it's not reality to have everybody have 100% of an approval rating. I think it's okay if you do it. I just think you should also be able to roast this guy and not have any repercussions as well.
Yeah, it's just if you're actively trying to prevent people from being safe.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
But you don't have to. You don't have to, but just maybe, hey, man, could you not? Right? We're not going to fine you, but we'd prefer you not to do that.
Learn the hard way, buddy. Go ahead. I would just say you don't want to wear them. Go ahead. Don't wear them, but don't come crying to me.
Right. Or somebody that is somebody who wears it to call out what Nate just said and said, well, Feliciano, if that's the case, then why do you wear the helmet that you wear?
I mean,
right.
Start effect. I mean, I would just say, your insurance rate might be a little bit higher because you're not taking all the proper safety precautions. So, I would just, I think that there's ways of proving your point without having to try to stifle the opinions of others.
Fair enough. Coming up next, is there a difference between pressure and the hot seat as it pertains to one Kyle Shanahan, and probably some more picks from Brock Purdy that we'll talk about in training camp? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Subscribe to Sacktown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys, live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus, view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sacktown Sports.
Keep your family cool and comfortable this summer with Bell Brothers' best summer ever financing event. When you replace your AC system, we're offering 0 payments, 0 interest for 6 months on approved credit, then low fixed rate thereafter. That's right, 0 payments, 0 interest for 6 months on any new AC system. It's an incredible offer on an incredible new AC system, but only for a limited time. This offer is also available on any plumbing, water heater, or insulation projects over $1,000. So call Bell Brothers now. Your family will thank you because they'll be cool and comfortable. But you have to hurry. Our offer for 0 payment, 0 interest for 6 months, then low fixed rate thereafter ends soon. Estimates and second opinions are free. So call now to keep your family cool and comfortable during Bell Brothers' best summer ever event. Our number is 916-444-1234 or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com. That's thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Sacramento, Dirks Bentley's coming to town. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo for Country in the Park 2. And he's bringing some friends. Parmalee, Tyler Rich, Dasha, Kelsey Hart, and more. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo. Get your tickets today before they're sold out at CITPFest.com. Brought to you by The Scoundrel Red Wine, Naturewood Home Furnishings, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers.
Jason Mraz and the Super Band live. The mystical, magical, rhythmical, radical ride. Friday, August 9th, the venue at Thunder Valley. Jason Mraz and the Super Band with special guest Molly Miller Trio. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Jason Mraz and the Super Band in concert. Pick up the new album, Mystical, Magical, Rhythmical, Radical Ride.
I'm a very active person that likes to move around and go. The pain I was in was really excruciating. It was actually debilitating. I was basically heading towards a sedentary lifestyle. I had really tried everything, but I quickly lost hope with all of the things that we had tried, and that's what led me to the Good Feet store. And when I found the Good Feet system, it really just changed everything. It brought me back to life. I have my active lifestyle back.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Lead generation is one of the most important aspects of any marketing campaign. Let us help you identify your target audience and market your products or services to them. Go to aimyourdigital.com today. aimyourdigital.com.
Live and local. This is Sacktown Sports.
There are a couple trades for the A's and the Giants. We're going to wait to really get into them because we're still trying to figure out what the A's got back. What the A's got back. We do know what the Giants got back for one. And I haven't even gone on my Giants rant about this whole Soler thing and how I've been, going back and forth with Giants fans. We're about to get into Kyle Shanahan conversation, pressure versus hot seat. But the Giants say they traded reliever Mike Baumann. This is from Pavlovich. And when Alex Pavlovich is starting to just have some fun with this, it's in a bad spot, Chris. The Giants say they traded reliever Mike Baumann to the Angels for old friend cash considerations. That's literally what he said. So he's having some fun with that. We're trying to figure out what the A's got. The A's traded relief pitcher. Don't worry, not Eminem, not Mason Miller, Luke Erseg. So we're going to figure out what the A's got back for that. That's coming up in about 15-ish minutes. But we wanted to have a conversation. I saw something, Chris, with friend of the show who we talked about, Mark Schlereth. He was on in the Bay Area, and he was talking about the pressure that Kyle Shanahan was under heading into this season. And I thought it was interesting because I saw a comment, and one of the comments said, Kyle Shanahan is under pressure, but he's not on the hot seat.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about it because I do think that's correct. But at the same time, how can you be under pressure if you're not on the hot seat? Are you under pressure to possibly get to the hot seat? It's like pre-pressure.
Yeah. Pre-hot seat.
It's pre-hot seat pressure.
Yeah, that's what I would say it is. It's like he's a step away from being a step away. That's probably the best way of putting it, because there's 100% pressure. I don't think he's on the hot seat yet, but I think the point would be, or what I'm hearing in that, is that if this season doesn't go well, that's how he gets put on the hot seat. Because to me, the hot seat is you are a bad season or a bad run away from being fired. And I think it's a little bit early to put that on Shanahan, especially after the success he had not just last year, but the years previous to that as well. But like you said earlier, I believe with the caller, at some point here, it reaches a point where, are we just supposed to keep running our head into the wall and not changing things?
Right.
At some point, if he loses again, and it might not be losing in the NFC Championship game, but at some point it's going to get to, look, this isn't good enough, and we have to keep trying to get better. And what do they always say in sports? The coaches are the first ones to go. It's never the players are always the last resort to get rid of. The coaches are the first ones to get the blame. Andy Reid, I think, is the perfect example. He eventually ran out of time in Philadelphia. It was through some thin seasons, and I don't think that's necessarily on the horizon for the Niners. But yeah, I think there's definitely pressure on him, but it's not fireable yet. But next season, if the Niners have a disappointing, even if it's not an NFC Championship, we'll just say they lose in the second round, I think next season then becomes the hot seat season. where they're a bad stretch or, again, another disappointing exit away from we really have to have a conversation.
Well, I think that's the difference, right? You have Andy Reid, who I do think it's a good comp, but towards the end, Andy Reid was losing in the wild card and missing the playoffs.
That's the big difference.
If that never happens, what do you do if you're the Niners? I don't know. What's the line?
I don't know.
Let's just say the line is making the playoffs seems too easy, right? So maybe it's the division. Maybe it's every season he's either going to the conference championship. Yeah. Let's mix in the next 5 years. Conference championship, another Super Bowl, conference championship, divisional round. How can you fire that? But you don't have the big one.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, and it's strange because the Niners, like, where do you put, like, Kyle's got to get the blame too. Mm-hmm. Like, it can't, if Brock Purdy throws 5 interceptions in one of those divisional championship games, how many people are going to blame Kyle Shanahan for that? Or, I mean, you still could. I'm sure you could say, oh my God, this guy, we have Christian McCaffrey and he won't run the ball. So it kind of depends how they lose too in order for him to kind of get officially put onto that hot seat. I don't know. I don't know what's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, but I'll tell you what, it's going to happen at some point. Even the best coaches, look at Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick got glorified fired pretty much, where they pretty much were like, Bill, we would really like to not continue this relationship. So I think everything has an expiration date. It's just a matter of, frankly, I mean, it kind of doesn't matter how the fans feel. I think the fans are already at a point of frustration. We don't really know where the front office, where the GM or where the ownership is at really with Kyle Shanahan in there, because we know that John Lynch and Kyle have a fantastic relationship, and I don't think John Lynch is going to turn on Kyle. I think it would probably have to come from ownership, and I think it would have to be the fan base being so loud about it that they just feel like we have no other option.
Let's get to Dwayne, who wants to talk about Kyle Shanahan, 916-339-1140, if you want to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Dwayne? What you got for us?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Everybody's still being too nice about this Kyle Shanahan thing, man. This was already supposed to be a wrap. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? This guy does not have the crutch gene. He want to run when you're supposed to pass. Everybody everybody remembers Atlanta. Julio Jones makes that great catch, should have won the Super Bowl. And instead, this guy starts passing.
Gotta go.
Cut that.
Go.
That's where Niner fans are at right now, man. They're not happy, and I think there is a big portion of Niner fans that have been ready for Kyle to get out. I think it really just kind of depends on where you feel like they're going. I mean, are they getting better? Does it feel like the league is caught up? Because also a big part of the Kyle Shanahan lure or the appeal of Kyle is he's an offensive genius, right? He's levels above everybody else. Maybe that could be it too. That could maybe be the end of him, as if the league kind of starts to catch up with him, because I don't think we've quite seen it yet, but there's a lot of great offensive minds out there. And, you know, if the Niners offense kind of stagnates a bit or doesn't look like the elite unit that it's been in the past, maybe that's where Kyle kind of starts to lose his luster. But right now, it feels like he has the locker room. It feels like he has John Lynch's trust. I kind of think that's all that matters at the moment. And until either of those shake, or again, until ownership really wants to get involved, I just think it's going to be Kyle's show to run until we're at the point where there's divisional exits, wild card exits, and all that.
Razor Rudy on the Sack Chat. What about Tomlin? The guy's got us further than anybody else. Hot seat or not, got to keep him. And I think that's
Tomlin's
fair.
a good example.
I think there are a lot of Steeler fans that don't care about the 9-8s and 8-8s. They do not care about the winning record streak. Okay. No, the question is, with Kyle Shanahan, you have to be okay with when the Eagles moved on from Andy Reid, he immediately got a job with the Chiefs. The idea of, oh, well, you can't move on from Kyle Shanahan. Everybody, and I'm not saying to, but when people say, you know how many teams would love Kyle Shanahan?
Right.
That two things can be true. You might need to eventually move on, and it doesn't mean that he's a bad coach. Right. So this idea that the only time you should fire a coach is if nobody else would want him, that's not it either. Yeah. And I'm not saying to do it. I'm saying that I always hear that when it comes to Kyle Shanahan. Oh, you know how many coaches, and we're not there yet.
No.
But if he continues to make it to the playoffs with one of the best rosters, if not the best roster in the NFL. Making the playoffs is not something to write home about. And it's, oh my goodness, well, what if you have? Well, remember Tom Sula and all these guys. Eventually, you're not there yet, but whenever it's time, there's probably still going to be a team very similar to players.
Yeah.
Right? There's probably still Tom Brady and the Patriots. The Patriots are ready to move forward.
Yep.
The Bucs said, we still think you got something, and they won again. Mm-hmm. And I know that's the Niners fans' fear that Kyle Shanahan will be the Andy Reid for the Niners, but you can't sit there and every season say, you know how many teams would take Kyle Shanahan? Yeah, there will always be a team to take Kyle Shanahan. That doesn't also mean that you shouldn't move on from eventually. I'm not saying now, but that's not a great argument every single year.
Yeah, no, and I'm looking at Andy Reid's year-by-year record, too. His first season, he goes 5-11. The next 1, 2, 3...
With the Eagles or with the Chiefs?
With the Eagles. So he starts off his first year in 99, 5-11. The next 5 seasons, he wins 11 or more games. And with the crescendo of a 13-3 season in which they go to the Super Bowl in 2004, then it's 6-10, 10-6, 8-8, 9-6. Then they back up to 11-5, 10-6, and then
that was Michael Vick.
And yes, it is. Yeah, 2010 they go 10-6, 2011 they go 8-8, 2012 they go 4-12, and then he goes on to the Chiefs the next year. So I don't think that's the line of. That's not how I see things panning out for Shanahan. I just don't see, at least on the horizon, I don't see that 8-8 and then 4-12 season coming. And it took those 2 bad years for them to eventually get rid of Andy Reid. I don't know when those years come for Shanahan. I don't think that those are 2 years away. It feels to me like that might happen in 5 or 6 years when they kind of restart after McCaffrey's contract's up, when Trent Williams is long gone, when they only have one of Ayuk and Debo, and probably, who knows, Ricky Pearsall might emerge at that point.
Get your loving on me.
I just think that, that's what it took for Andy Reid to eventually get let go after years and years and years of knocking on that door. I don't know what, I sound like a broken record, but I don't know what it's going to be for Kyle to eventually get that string pulled, because I just don't see those lean years happen.
Yeah. I got 2 things here. I think Shanahan would be a god tier GM because his personnel.
Oh, that's interesting.
His personnel, like, it's hard to fire a guy.
Draft, right?
The guy, what?
You have to draft well in the first couple rounds. Right?
Well, I'm not if you're drafting super well in the 3rd and 5th. That's what I mean.
Sure.
He clearly is good at that, right? He can get this amazing talent later on, like value-wise, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously we do the list all the time, like Fred Warner, George Kittle, all those guys. It's after that. I was just thinking about that. But what other coaches in the NFL would you put on the Niners, and you think they have a better shot right now? Like I think if you were going to replace Shanahan, who are you replacing him with? I think that's the
not
big
that
question.
We're saying to do that.
No. But if Shanahan's out right now, right? Or let's say it's 2 months ago, Shanahan's out. Who are you replacing with? Belichick? I think everyone goes, okay, Belichick. Okay, you don't want
You're saying available or unavailable? Anybody?
Let's just say literally anybody, any human on the planet. Who would you put in that role?
I'll put McVay.
LaFleur maybe.
Yeah,
McVay would be my number.
Funny
one.
enough, I would just say the Shanahan tree.
I would not say what's his name in Miami.
I would say Mike McDaniel.
I hate.
Why not? What about Mike McDaniel makes you?
His ankles, bro. His ankles are always out.
But his swag.
Oh, he's got swag, huh?
Swag coming out of his earlobe.
I'd go Sean McVay
for sure.
I'd go Sean McVay. I'd go Andy Reid. I'd go John Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm.
John Harbaugh, yes.
Great shout.
Jim Harbaugh? He would. I mean, that would never happen.
Prove it first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
again,
I think maybe one that might go to the radar. D'Amico, sure, but I was thinking Doug Peterson in Jacksonville.
I'm off. I'm off it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm off it.
D'Amico. What about
I think
Saleh?
LaFleur is a good shout.
But again,
no thanks.
No
thanks
Saleh,
on
again,
on
we're not saying this. We're saying that.
Like, what's there to replace him with?
But we're not talking about replacing him. We're just saying that the idea of you can't move off of him because some other teams would kill to have him. That's a lot of teams would always. Everybody's always looking for the next best thing.
Yeah.
Right. He's a top 5 guy. He's a top 5 coach.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's more about how they're stuck.
And it's great. Yeah.
I mean, just get over the hump. It's because they're stuck.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly the point. That's how annoying it would get. It would have to be. It gets to the point where I really don't care what he does with other situations.
Yeah.
Because I know in this situation, for whatever reason, it's not happening. It's just not happening. And they've ran it. And this is presuming that they run it into the wall probably 3 to 4 more times. And you just reach the point where you say, I cannot continue to do this. It's the definition of insanity. I don't need to say it, but you cannot continue to do it over and over again and then just run it back the next season. And it doesn't mean you're a bad coach. It just means at some point here, it's just life. Sometimes you just need to shake things up. Sometimes it doesn't matter how great people are. You need a new voice. And I think, even the Bulls, like they got sick and tired of hearing Phil Jackson yell at them. I mean, I think that it's just human nature to at some point you need a change, whether you're successful or you're really close and you can't get it done. I just kind of think it's the nature of everything.
Coming up next, we get into the MLB trade deadline. Who is still in the green and gold and the orange and black, and who is moving on to greener pastures? Stiles and Watkins, Saxon Sports.
Kevin Herter plays here.
It's Herter. He's been hot. He fires. He's still hot. Kevin Herter from downtown has a 15-point first quarter.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
There was always a crowd gathered around our dining table when I was growing up. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. Everyone was welcome at my mother's table, so holidays, birthdays, and celebrations always included family and friends. I used to think I was the most popular kid in the neighborhood until I realized that my friends were really there for my mother's incredible cooking. Years later, when I bought my own dining table from Naturewood, I made sure it was large enough to make friends feel welcome. And right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings' Dine in Style sale, you have an opportunity to find the perfect dining room furniture to help you create your own treasured memories. Choose from casual to formal or anything in between. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings during the Dine in Style sale off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Hi, this is Frank LaRosa.
And this is Scott Marsh.
Join us weekly for Golf to Go right here on Sacktown Sports. We talk to all the local golf experts in the area and give you the latest on all the courses as well.
And not to mention all the golf legends and celebrities, along with all the latest in equipment and tournaments too.
Most importantly, we'll just have some fun talking about a game that's fun to play.
You know, it's my favorite hour of the week, Frank.
Golf to Go, Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. right here on Sacktown Sports. Give us a listen. I think you'll enjoy it.
Quick Quack Car Wash takes the drama out of keeping your car clean.
Let's wash the car. Don't spray the hose inside the car.
Our convenient wash packages make it easy to get your car soaked, scrubbed, and on your way. Protect your car from sun, rain, and pollen with a ceramic duck wash and get our in-wash light show. and an unbeatable clean.
Oh, the kids filled the gas tank with water.
Of course they did. Quick Quack Car Wash. Come in today and get 25% off any wash.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Take it on the local level. Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
Trying to keep up with all of these MLB trades, and we're going to go through them right now. Some of them we have the returns for, some of them we do not, at least not yet, and some of them are simply cash considerations. So let's start here. You have the one we had fun with a little bit ago, Chris. Mike Baumann was traded to the Angels, formerly of the Giants, traded to the Angels for cash considerations. There's that one. You have Luke Ayrseg on the A's. He was traded as well. Still trying to see. Jeff Passan isn't really saying, because, it's tough with these prospects that Jeff Passan's just saying who the big names are. He's not necessarily saying who got moved for what. The Royals are getting Luke Ayrseg from the Oakland A's. You have starter for the A's, and this one might upset a couple A's fans. Paul Blackburn goes to the Mets, who are trying to heat up towards the end of the season. We will try to get that for you as far as who the A's get back, and I don't know how much A's fans even really care. The New York Mets are finalizing a deal to acquire right-handed starter Paul Blackburn from the Oakland A's. That was from Jeff Passan, so we will try to get the return for that for you before the show ends, but obviously we'll recap all of this tomorrow. The Giants, who Baggerly wrote, are not in full sell mode. That was a couple hours ago. We had this on our kind of cheat sheet. Andrew Baggerly says, my understanding of the Giants and Soler trade, they're not in full sell mode. They plan to call up Marco Luciano and use him at DH, along with Conforto and Flores when healthy. They're looking for a defensive upgrade in center field to slide Elliot Ramos to a corner, which I definitely think they should do. That was at 9:35 p.m. last night, and the Giants have traded for Alex Cobb, or traded Alex Cobb. Alex Cobb has been traded. He was about to make his first start this weekend, and he was traded, Chris, you talk about young. He was traded for Jacob Bresnahan, and one of the prospects. So they're getting more than that. He had just made his low A. This is from Matt Lively. He had just made his low A debut on July 25th. He's 19 years old and was drafted in the 13th round in 2023. So trying to figure out who else they're going to get for Alex Cobb, but he was one of the pieces that they received back.
Do you think that there should be more like pro for pro trades in baseball?
Doesn't happen often.
It's so strange to me that
there's just so
happen.
many prospects, man, and we're kind of burying the lead here. If you were already asleep by about 9 o'clock, you may have missed that. You will not see any more Soler power tweets on the San Francisco Giants social media, because Soler is headed back to Atlanta, and in a move where a lot of people thought, wow, the Giants, this is a bit of a seller's market. That's been the quote-unquote narrative going on. That's the word of the day for this show, narrative.
It's a good word.
That the Allen brings stinky lunch, that the Giants were going to get somewhat of a haul back for Soler, but it turns out that Soler's deal actually isn't a very good one. He is a guy who can't field, all right? He just started to hit, and he was getting paid a decent amount of money. So basically, Farhan Zaidi wanted out of Dodge and out of that contract. So it was a bit of a salary dump, Chris. And Giants fans, some Giants fans understand it. Look, everybody knows I want all the kids to play, and I wanted Marco Luciano up. But you wanted to play Nick Ahmed, and they're trying to figure out what position Marco Luciano is going to play. Being a 21-year-old DH
crazy
is not the best look. Is not the best look. But Giants, they move off of Soler, and they get back Sabin Ceballos and Tyler Matzik from the Atlanta Braves in exchange for DH Jorge Soler and right-handed pitcher Luke Jackson, who was not very good. So neither of these guys were really
Luke
performing.
Jackson seems to be the Jalen McDaniels of baseball.
Yes. Neither of these guys
celebrating him just not being on their team.
Right. Neither of these guys were performing as well as Giants fans in the front office had hoped. I think the bigger picture here is the Giants aren't necessarily buying or selling. They would tell you, and I know some Giants Homer fans that were in my DMs last night were trying to tell me, well, it's addition by subtraction because now Marco Luciano is going to get at bats.
He was getting at bats before too.
Fine. Is that where we're at? We used to be a proper organization. We used to have pride.
Yeah.
And now you're celebrating addition by subtraction. Salary dump moves. Have you no pride, some of you Giants fans, really? It's okay to be ticked off, all right? A lot of you are looking at this deal. If this deal is in a vacuum, then sure. Yes, it makes sense. But you can't look at this deal in a vacuum. You got to look at this deal on top of all the other deals. You know what I saw someone write, Chris? And I'm not going to say who it was.
Okay.
Because I don't want to get blocked on Twitter. It's okay for Giants fans to feel that Farhan Zaidi has created a pretty good roster, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he needed a star and didn't get the star. But you can't say that he hasn't really tried.
Oh, get an E for effort.
That's where we're at with the Giants. And again, that payroll, top 10 in Major League Baseball. So to me, if you are 15 and below, that's where you sell. Right?
Yep.
If you are 10 and above, that's where you buy. But for some odd reason, and you were 3 games out of the wild card, but the Giants have done neither. And now they sold Alex Cobb, and we're still trying to figure out who they got back. We know they got one 19-year-old pitcher, so we'll see the 19-year-old pitcher when we see Rain Fox at the same time.
Can't wait.
It's just frustrating, man.
No, I mean, I definitely understand it. I mean, I feel like, like you said, I mean, they're kind of dipping their toe in both worlds. They're buying or they're selling, and yet they're creating cap space for what? I mean, for what? It kind of does remind me a little bit of the Sasha and Davion trade away, where it's like, okay, like this is, like you said, in a vacuum. I mean, I think maybe it's different in that sense. In the vacuum, I would say the Davion Sasha thing doesn't make sense, but in the big picture, you could argue it does. What is it for? What is that extra relief? How are you going to capitalize it
for next year?
I think I'm not going to claim this joke as my own. What? So that they can finish second in the Juan Soto race?
That's right.
Like what's happening?
Yeah,
like
that's what Grant Brisbee wrote.
Thank you. Yes, I was like, I couldn't remember who made that fantastic joke, by the way. But I just think I understand. I'm honestly shocked that there's not more outrage. I mean, Giants fans, you're right. Like, it's okay to be mad at this. I mean, you should expect better of your organization, and I think it's just incredibly disappointing after the offseason that they had, going out and getting Chapman, getting Snell, spending the money that they spent in general. This is not good enough. And I don't know. I mean, I heard Steve Berman this morning on with Jason. He thinks that Farhan can maybe last another year. And didn't sound like he was advocating for it, but it sounded like he thinks that, especially with this kind of living in both worlds, he could see Farhan getting another season at this. I mean, I don't think, if you're living in the middle, to me, that's doing if you're going to do something, you might as well pick a direction and choose it. To me, living in between does no good for anybody.
You know who Farhan's acting like right now? He's acting like Brandon Ayuk. He's holding in. He's holding in.
There you go.
Not holding out. Here we have some more updates from what the A's got back for Airsack, the relief pitcher. The A's will receive right-handed pitcher Mason Barnett, right-handed pitcher Will Klein, and outfielder Jared Dickey from Kansas City. Mason Barnett rated Kansas City's number 4 prospect.
There you go.
And Will Klein rated Kansas City's number 18 prospect. So there's something.
There you go.
There's something there. We'll continue to break all of that down. Coming up next, we talked about the wide receivers yesterday and where they were all ranked as far as Madden. And today we have the running back. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sacktown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
All we're seeing is that it was a very, very lively training camp today, and we're going to talk to Emil Fregoso this week and figure out what is going on, because it is electric out there in Santa Clara. And by the way, there's a guy making the rounds, Chris, as far as the steal of the draft, and I can't wait to take that victory lap. I know it's early, but you sent this to me, by the way. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You sent this to me, so we're going to get into all of that very, very shortly. And we want to talk about these running backs. And Nate, you can hop in on this one, trying to figure out if we have any issues with the top 10 running backs. You have Isaiah Pacheco at number 10. By the way, I know he's not a quarterback, but Isaiah Pacheco, if I'm not mistaken, 6th or 7th round draft pick. Just really one of the great stories
for sure.
of the NFL. I know it's not the same as Brock Purdy, but whenever you have these stories of these late round guys, always great. Number 9, Aaron Jones. And Isaiah Pacheco was at 87. Number 9, Aaron Jones at an 88 overall. Kenneth Walker III at an 88 overall. Josh Jacobs at an 89 overall. Travis Etienne Jr. at a 90 overall. Joe Mixon at number 5 at a 91 overall. Saquon Barkley at number 4 at a 92 overall. Derrick Henry at a 94 overall at number 3. Nick Chubb at number 2 at a 96 overall. And Christian McCaffrey, cover of Madden 25, at a 99 overall. Where is Alvin Kamara?
Yeah, it's pretty disrespectful.
He's been washed for a while. How is Derrick Henry a 94?
I don't know.
And Saquon Barkley was what? 91?
92.
Brother.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
There's just like
the 4th best running back.
This is
in the
very
NFL.
similar to our quarterback list, as like the talent around the league at this position is just not there right now.
Yeah.
It's just not that it's not there. It's just not like established superstars right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, Nick Chubb has been in and out of playing for like what it feels like his entire career.
His whole leg exploded.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't he coming back from that terrible injury?
He sure is.
And he's number 2.
I'm least upset about that one because when he is
absolutely
fine, he's definitely amazing. Derrick Henry's too old. Derrick Henry has slowed down significantly. That one is kind of wild to me.
Are we sleeping? I know he's not the same, but that's why going to Baltimore was perfect. Are we sleeping? And I know every year Lamar does get decent, he's starting to get decent weapons. This is what we're talking about. And I know we're talking about the running backs right now, but you have what's left of Derrick Henry. And I do think having Lamar is going to be that lightning and thunder with Lamar and lightning and thunder with the other running backs. And, got to be careful with Derrick Henry. Raven running backs just cannot stay healthy. No. But you look at that core of Andrews when he's healthy. You got Zay Flowers, right? And now you add Derrick Henry. It's high time for Lamar to do something.
You could be having a lot of these similar 49er conversations about the Ravens.
You really, and that's what one of our callers earlier said.
It'd be hypocritical not to analyze that and be like, yeah, I mean, the Ravens obviously, like with Lamar specifically, like that dude is blew it. Earlier, this was brought up in first hour of the show, I think. Lamar totally blew it against the Chiefs. That was totally on him. Like Brock didn't blow it against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson, that specifically the throw into quad coverage in the end zone was just like a completely poor decision. And yeah, like I don't know what happens against the Chiefs because Josh Allen does the same thing too.
Yeah,
against them, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
how many? I'm looking at the leaders in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns last season. How many of these top 10 do you think are featured on either of the top 10 in rushing yards or rushing touchdowns? Again, Isaiah Pacheco, Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker. You have Josh Jacobs, Etienne, Mixon, Barkley, Henry, Chubb, McCaffrey.
Wow.
How many of those 10 do you think are on either of the yards or touchdown leaders of last season?
I'm going to say McCaffrey.
Yep.
Joe Mixon.
Yep, he's number 8 in terms of rushing yards.
Forgive me, where does Kenneth Walker play?
He is on the Seahawks. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm going to say 2.
I feel like he's always injured, and I don't really know if there's anybody else because Josh Jacobs, he didn't.
No one's really playing
Isaiah Pacheco, but no, it's either you could throw Isaiah Pacheco on there, but yeah, I think that's it. Just 2.
It is Christian McCaffrey, who obviously led the NFL in rush yards last season. He was also 4th in touchdowns. You guys apparently will be surprised. Well, you also said Joe Mixon, who is 8th in rushing yards. Sounds like you guys will be surprised to learn Derrick Henry was 2nd in the NFL last season in rush yards. He was 7th in touchdowns.
They got Mayo, man.
They got nothing going on there. Yeah.
And the other one that makes the list is Travis Etienne, barely with 11 rushing touchdowns last year. That's it. The top 10 in rushing yards last year that weren't on this top 10 running back list. You had Kieran Williams of the Rams, had an amazing rookie season.
Kylo Ren.
James Cook of the Buffalo Bills had a huge breakout year. DeAndre Swift, who is in the backfield with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
You have James Conner, who finished 6th in rushing yards. Somehow Najee Harris gets number 7 in rushing yards. Get David Montgomery at number 9. Raheem Mostert at number 10 in rushing yards. And in the touchdown list, you have Mostert with 18. You get a couple quarterbacks with 15. McCaffrey at 14. Gus Edwards at 13. David Montgomery again making the list at 13 touchdowns. You got Derrick Henry with 7. Kieran Williams at number 7 as well. Then you have Etienne with 11 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs with 10. So
it's just a mess.
I don't understand how you don't have and if we're just talking yards, you only have 3 of the top yard getters in your top 10 running back list.
So
leaving the Detroit backs off too.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because they were raw.
They were incredible last year, and even James Cook. Like you got the problem. I love Aaron Jones, but like James Cook had a great season.
Let's go through this.
Kieran Williams had a great season last year.
Everybody on this list, let's go through this. How many of them are part of running back tandems? A lot of these, there are a lot more running back tandems these days.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the prevailing thing.
What was Etienne?
And he's not rated. Oh, no, I'm sorry, a 90. He's a 90.
Okay.
He's a 90. He's number 6 in the NFL.
He's like a young Kamara.
He had a lot of really
He's
explosive
great.
plays last year.
Yeah, I think he is the most underrated on that list. I think you should.
I think that's a good call.
three if he's behind Chubb. And honestly, if you want to put Chubb lower, but it's Madden. It's not like a power rankings going. It's just like a ranking for what they are.
For sure.
Yeah. So, and those. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of a wild list. Josh Jacobs too. A guy who's just always
Josh
hurt,
Jacobs. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. At number 7.
I mean,
Aaron Jones. I love me some Aaron Jones.
I think Josh Jacobs on Green Bay will be interesting.
I think it will. I think he'll be good.
Good for Jordan Love.
Who's going to have a better season? Josh Jacobs on the Packers or Saquon Barkley on the Eagles?
Oh, that's a great question. I think Josh Jacobs plays more.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I would guess that, and that's probably more of a single backfield as well.
I think there'll be a stretch where Saquon on the Eagles, people are going to be like, this is the best backfield tandem between him and her.
Yeah.
I think there will be like a 3-game stretch where everyone is just on them and they're the best team in the world, and then it just doesn't work.
For the Eagles.
Yes.
But you're high on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and I'm talking about the run game backfield with Saquon.
It's all connected.
It's all connected, man.
It's all connected.
But I in a similar way to how people said Luka and Kyrie are the best backfield or tandem backcourt in the NBA, I think it'll be like that for a few weeks with the Eagles.
I'm also surprised DeAndre Swift. Yeah, I forgot that he's on the Bears now. So like he's in a backfield by himself as well. I'm surprised with him being 5th in rush yards last year. I've never been a huge DeAndre Swift guy, but he was really, really good with the Lions. And I think had a really good year with the Eagles last year. I'm pretty surprised to not see him featured on this list either.
Coming up next, we have more breakdowns coming. Oh, somebody from the 209 is saying, don't forget Bijan. Falcons running back is a stud.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, he's going to be. He's supposed to be.
Yeah, he's definitely supposed to.
He's supposed to be. We'll see.
He fits that Falcons team.
The Falcons, that's you know how they say who's a team that they'll say is for it's not NBA ticket, but that's a league pass team. A league pass team. Yeah. The Falcons might be my NFL ticket team because I'm just interested in what in the world
you get
is
the
going to
Kirk
go on.
Penix storyline.
Yeah. I just want to know.
Is Kyle Pitts ever going to be a thing?
Yeah.
Please.
I
My
definitely
fantasy team is begging for it.
I definitely think that they will be an NFL ticket team. Coming up next, we have more breakdowns from the MLB trades for your future. I almost said Sacramento A's, Oakland A's, also the Giants, and Quavo, Fair or Foul, he remakes a very famous song, Are You In or Out? Are you Get Off My Lawn? Or Hello, Fellow Young Kids, How Do You Do? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The Sacramento Kings play here.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead. Outstanding ball movement by Sacramento.
Every triple, every jam, every Kings win.
Sabonis with the jam over the Joker. He's got the three-point shot.
Get your Kings fix all season long.
Right here on your home of the Sacramento Kings.
Here's a steal by Fox, the breakaway. He's got the rip with the left hand.
Sacktown Sports at SacktownSports.com.
Sacramento, Dirks Bentley's coming to town. What was I thinking? I'm getting drunk. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo for Country in the Park 2. And he's bringing some friends. Parmalee, Tyler Rich, Dasha, Kelsey Hart, and more. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo. Get your tickets today before they're sold out at CITPFest.com. Brought to you by The Scoundrel Red Wine, Naturewood Home Furnishings, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
Celebrate Sacramento Rivercats baseball during our 25th anniversary season. Pick your favorite weekly promotion, giveaway game, or theme night, and join the fun at Sutter Health Park. Stick around post-game every Friday and Saturday night as we light up the sky with the brightest fireworks in town. For a full promotion schedule and to buy tickets, visit rivercats.com. We'll see you there.
If your passion is bass fishing, only one radio show has the action, information, and excitement of your favorite outdoor sport. Ultimate Bass, hosted by Tournament Bass Pro and California Outdoor Hall of Famer Kent Brown, takes you live to where the fish are biting every Saturday morning. Only Ultimate Bass feeds your passion with the latest news, products, tips, and advice from the pros. Ultimate Bass with Kent Brown, Saturday mornings at 5 a.m. on Sacktown Sports 1140, part of SEP's Saturday Morning Outdoors.
I would end the day with sore feet, sore legs. The drugstore inserts that I was purchasing were really not very useful at all. I walked into the Good Feet store and the guy kind of grinned at me and said, I hear that a lot. I was living with chronic pain before going to the Good Feet store. Now I don't really have that problem. I'm able to do the things that I expect to be able to do, even at my advanced age. I feel pretty good about what's going on.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
Update on who the A's are receiving. This is from Anthony DeComo, Mets beat writer for MLB.com. The Mets are getting starter Paul Blackburn from the A's for Cade Morris, sources confirm. Blackburn missed much of the season due to a stress reaction in his right foot, but he has a 4.41 ERA and 9 starts. He's a former first rounder, was a year of control left after this one. Martin Gallego says Cade Morris rated the Mets number 25 prospect. So the A's, and the first comment I see an A's fan sigh, the yearly fire sale continues. Hey, as long as Eminem is safe, I think, look, they said, A's fans, real quick, they said, hey, we don't really want to move JJ Bleday. We don't really want to move Brent Rooker, who's been balling. Yep. Okay, Jacob Wilson is safe because he's so young, right? And he's injured right now. We should celebrate, Chris. We won't be on the air. But at 3:00, if Mason Miller is still, and he's on the shelf too, because of what was it, Tablegate? All right. Yeah. If Mason Miller is still on the A's, we have an hour and a half left. Yeah. I'd say that's worth a tiny victory celebration. Yeah, I would say so.
I think so.
I would definitely say so. Okay. I mean, you knew you weren't. The A's, they don't have a good record. You know you weren't getting out of it scot-free, but at least you could say, hey, we are good. Basically, you could celebrate, Chris, that if 3:00 comes around, we will see Mason Miller, the best closer in baseball, in Sacramento next season.
Exciting, yeah.
The most exciting.
Yeah. I mean, that's
an
definitely
hour and a half.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Oakland. I know they don't want to hear it, but yeah, I mean, from a Sacramento perspective, absolutely. I mean, that is, and the organization talked about, hey, yeah, we're not going to be the same old A's that everybody roasts us for, where, yeah, we trade all of our best players and you never get to see the best parts of their career pan out. Well, this is a good start at the very least. If you want to build any semblance of trust with this fan base, this is a great way of starting it. Is the only player, and no disrespect to the Brett Rookers or the Zach Geloffs or the Tyler Wilsons, but the only player that current people in Sacramento probably know or would drive them to the stadium is Mason Miller. Just keep that name for the year. Just keep, and definitely longer than the year. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, it makes all the sense if you want to really just have the basic fundamentals of building some sort of trust with your. Not that they care at all about the Sacramento market, but it's definitely it would be a huge blow to, I think, a lot of the hype. Frankly, there's not already much hype about the team, but at least you can say, oh yeah, Mason Miller might come out tonight. I think that really is a really big part of people's excitement here.
And I'm looking here, Chris, just trying to confirm, but I'm looking here, if I'm not mistaken, I'm looking at the 2025 regular season. It's hard to see. Oh yeah. And that's for athletics.
That's right.
Yes. So,
don't call him Sack.
So I believe this will be in May. as long as he is not injured, right? As long as he is not injured, you will see, or you should see, Mason Miller versus one Aaron Judge in Sacramento. That is next May or upcoming May. So you got to feel good about that, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think,
and I know we got an hour and a half.
I mean, it's definitely something to get excited about for sure. I mean, it's what Rob Manfred and Vivek not posted, but they it was part of the selling point, right? Come to the most intimate ballpark in sports and see Aaron Judge hit home runs off of your own team. I mean, that's part of the allure for sure. And I mean, it'd be nice if the A's could. I know they got that number 4 prospect from the Royals, but it'd be nice if they could add to the list of players who at least fans could go and say, oh yeah, I recognize that guy. Today would be a great start to it. And I mean, you do have to start to build up the hype in some way. And I think Mason Miller is probably the only thing right now that's getting anybody excited from a player standpoint. Of course, Jacob Wilson too, I think a little bit, but I don't think anyone knows enough about him. You're not going to reach the excitement of a 103 mile per hour closer. I mean, that is something that you can only see, maybe once in a lifetime, really.
Yeah. From the Olympics, Chris, the U.S. men's team 4x200 freestyle relay, they are taking home silver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they are taking home silver, and
not good enough.
Yeah, that's what
Get
Chris is
gold.
saying. Gold or go home.
Yeah,
right. There's the guy with the chips spilled on him, sitting on the couch. Really, silver.
Come on! Oh my gosh. Do better.
Yeah, we'll see how Whitey is feeling when he comes in. His San Diego Padres are finalizing a deal to acquire closer Tanner Scott from the Marlins. That is still pending a medical review. So that is another big one, and I'm still waiting.
And that's a team that's ahead of the Giants right now, right?
Yeah, that's I'm still waiting for the Giants to do something, but it does not seem that they are going to do something that is at least going to excite the fans in a way that, hey, we're either buying or we are selling. Okay, Nate, let's have some fun with this one. And really, fair or foul on this. So as the NFL is around the corner, people are saying that Quavo, this is a marketing ploy for Quavo. This is going to be a song that's going to be all over Sunday Night Football and things like that. Fair or foul, Quavo, you might recognize this song. Quavo, the rapper, singer, whatever artist you want to call them nowadays from Atlanta, is remaking a classic. And I know some people might like it and some people might not enjoy it too much. Here it is. Fair foul remaking a classic song. And honestly, it still kind of sounded. Chris can't talk.
Oh my God, that was terrible.
It actually
raindrop.
It actually still kind of sounded like Lenny, though.
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure they just threw some auto tune.
Okay, because I thought it was Quavo at first.
Yeah, that would have made it a full send. I would have been absolutely.
How are you making
on the floor?
You know, Lenny is saying, "Yeah, brother, you're gonna come off about 80% of this song." How is he making any? I think he's like, I will make the money off of the NFL or whoever wants to take it, because Lenny is asking for everything.
I love the fact that they just throw the most basic garage band what is that snare? What is
blah blah blah?
Does he cuss in the
rap? That's why I told you
I'm
to
find out.
Oh my God!
But you actually hit it
that's
perfectly.
terrible.
Nate, you hit it perfectly, Nate. The first time, I'm feeling away. That's probably somebody who just got in their car.
Oh my God!
It sounds a little bit different. And then I'm feeling away. I'm feeling away.
It's so bad. I mean, I guess he's
foul.
I get your money. I guess fair for Lenny because Lenny's the one who's making out the most out of this. whatever. I'm okay with like the crossover music. Nelly started it all with Over and Over. This isn't. I'm feeling away.
Nate likes it. I can tell Nate likes it.
Oh yeah,
it's
he's
not
definitely playing that at the gym.
I will say
yeah.
the Stapleton in the air tonight, that hit last year pretty tough.
Yeah.
This is not touching that at all. You really think this is Quavo trying to get commercial?
Yes, and you can see.
I don't know why else he would do
the
it.
Eagles play, and there's an interception, and he's up in the air.
They're playing the Falcons.
Yeah.
You get the Atlanta beat.
The video too. He's in some like infinity tube or something.
You know what? It looks
He's
like
like
an
an escalator or something.
Coliseum.
Yes.
It looks like the tube at the Coliseum when you get off BART.
Feeling away.
Cooper DeJean is in the air.
This sounds like
Eagles winning 25.
No
21.
disrespect. I guess it's not disrespect because this is a professional rapper, but this sounds like if you were joking and you were like, guys, last night I got bored. I heard this Lenny song and I'm feeling away.
I'm feeling away.
No, but it wouldn't be a joke with Alan. Alan would be like, no,
Manny
seriously.
Too legit
like,
is saying, Styles, don't lie. You like it. I see you bobbing.
That might have to be a joke.
I'm out on it, man.
Every time you gotta just cut. I'm feeling away.
I'm feeling away.
When Chris or I are upset.
Yeah, I'm feeling away.
Woo, woo.
He's really breaking boundaries.
He really is.
Goodness gracious. This is literally the crossover that nobody asked for.
Not
a single
soul.
person was like, Quavo and Lenny.
Quavo and Lenny.
Ooh, the Crav Man.
I mean,
oh
this
my
could be
gosh.
Raindrop. This could be my walkout if I was still playing.
Oh yeah.
And then I strike out.
You get to serve all the. You get a certain part of the crowd. You get another part of the crowd. It is. Yeah, I'm looking at the video now.
I guarantee you, he's going to make a lot of money.
Does he say I'm feeling the wave or I'm feeling away?
I believe I'm feeling away. Yeah.
A way.
Yes.
Not I'm feeling the wave.
This literally looks like he shot this like
cell phone.
This is a
on
terrible music video.
Can we just see what it is? What he's saying?
No, this is not a good idea. Let's not push it.
I'm feeling away. Okay, enough.
I'm feeling away.
I'm feeling away.
Okay.
Well, let's see if Whitey's feeling away as his Padres get their closer heading into the trade deadline. Stiles Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out sacktownsports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on sacktownsports.com.
Not to brag, but Progressive's Name Your Price tool is mankind's greatest tool ever. Even better than the wheel. Sure, without the wheel, we wouldn't have modern transportation or funny videos of dogs riding skateboards. But without the Name Your Price tool, we wouldn't have easy access to auto insurance options based on our budget. And, well, cars do need wheels. They also need insurance, and insurance never goes flat. Learn more about the greatest tool ever, the Name Your Price tool at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Gotta change my oil.
How about Valvoline Restore and Protect? It restores and protects your engine to run like new.
Get in zone.
It restores your engine to like factory clean?
And protects.
Get in zone.
So Valvoline Restore and Protect restores and protects.
Now you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for $37.99.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
You did it, Boston. The Celtics are NBA champions. It's time to come together and celebrate in style. Go to NBAstore.com right now to get all your championship gear. The official locker room collection with t-shirts for the whole crew. The official locker room hat, and everything you need to celebrate the Larry O'Brien Championship Trophy. Celtics fans, it's your time, so get your gear. NBAstore.com, a Fanatics experience.
Total Wireless is made to totally keep up with you. We now have unlimited data that never slows you down. Covered by the Verizon 5G network. And for less than $30 a month, We make your phone your ride or die. Switch now and pick a free 5G phone with qualified plan purchase. And your fourth line at no additional cost. Visit your local Total Wireless store today. Total Wireless, we're totally with you. Actual speeds may vary by location. For data management practices, see TotalWireless.com.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing strategies that deliver results. On your next campaign, aim higher. Go to aimyourdigital.com and get started today. aimyourdigital.com.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
There is some beautiful, beautiful Olympic ball going on, volleyball and basketball, but we definitely will not ask Whitey Gleason about all of that, as we know how he feels.
Alan, what are we doing? May I borrow for what
Sure.
are we doing? Olympic 3-on-3. What are we doing?
I don't know. I don't know, but I guess it's another lane.
3-on-3 is what you play when you don't have a full court and you don't have enough people.
Yes.
Can we do
Freaking
one-on-one?
Olympics.
We might as well do one-on-one, right?
Sure.
You know?
2-on-2.
While we're at it.
Let's try
2-on-2.
7-on-7.
Yeah, hey,
What
why not
happens?
4-on-4 too?
Yeah.
Let's just do.
Well, here's
all
the
the
question,
numbers.
right?
That's a question.
Is there any, and there's a whole list, is there any gold medal or any Olympic medal that you wouldn't be impressed by, right? I mean, if somebody says, oh, I won 3-on-3 Olympic gold or bronze, whatever it is, I'm looking here at, cricket I know is very competitive, but some of these, is there anything that you just would feel, oh, cool, right? Wow, I'm in the grace of a Olympic athlete, but it's, oh, I won in any of these. Or if you put Olympic next to anything, is it impressive?
No, it's not.
I think the breakdancing probably. I'd probably be a little. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
What about,
Olympic
did you see the meme of the one woman who had the gun? It was the pistol.
Yeah. She was.
What if she
swagged
was gold? I won bronze in pistol shooting.
Then I would not mess with her.
Well, that's what I'm
sure.
saying. But would you feel, wow, I'm in the presence of this elite. When you think Olympic, you think elite, right?
I only feel that way when I'm around Chris Watkins.
Oh my goodness.
So other than that, Olympics great.
Yeah. I can't figure out why we're sending, like, bless Jimmer. I'm glad that he's staying relevant, but how is he our best option for 3-on-3 basketball?
Is Rick Barry's son playing too?
Yes, he is.
Canyon?
Yeah. So yeah, right. And
Who?
Rick
Canyon
son.
Barry, Rick
Yes.
Barry's son.
That's right. Yeah, he was talking to you about it, right?
Yeah,
The other day.
yeah.
Where's the players from the Big Three?
That's what I'm saying. Like, can we get, at the very least, can we get a Baron Davis sighting, or can we, I don't know, like, can we get Keegan Murray in this? Come on. There's got to be better options out here than Jimmer Fredette, who's, sure, he's killing it out in China, but
I'm with you.
I would love
the
to
implication
get some real
is that those guys are good basketball players, but they don't know the nuances of 3-on-3.
Yeah,
And I'm
right.
not
Exactly.
buying it.
That
I'm with you. I'm
doesn't
like,
make
no.
If we can have Jason Tatum be a glorified spot up shooter, why can't we have our, whatever, Jalen Green out here playing 3? He doesn't need to learn the intricacies of 3x3 basketball. He just needs to know when they make it, take it out and run to the line and shoot it.
By the way, with Carmichael Dave out, I know that Raider fans have been feeling a little less attacked. This is from Tashawn Reed, senior writer for The Athletic, who covers the Raiders. Aiden O'Connell took most of the starting snaps at QB today after Gardner Minshew got the majority of the starting reps yesterday. O'Connell was a little bit better today, Chris, but neither player performed well.
Yeah. Everything I've heard about Raider camp is it's a matter of who's playing not worse.
Yeah. I'm sure you probably talked about it. Antonio Pierce says, I want one of these guys. He's frustrated with his quarterback, right?
Yes, yeah.
He's probably going to feel that way a lot this year, right?
And that leads me to my victory lap that Chris so graciously.
Yes. Here's
sent
Alan
me
taking
yesterday.
a victory lap on training camp. Go ahead.
Whitey.
What are we doing?
From years ago when I watched this guy, was it on Netflix, Chris?
Yes, Alan was the only person who was watching this. Have you heard of this Netflix?
Spencer Rattler looks good.
Who?
Spencer Rattler looks good. Don't look at me like that, Nate. Spencer Rattler looks good. Okay, he's playing for the Saints.
Look in his direction.
He could have been on the Raiders.
Stop.
He could have been on the Raiders. Okay, he is the steal of the draft. Derek Carr, the car is broken. Derek Carr, we know that he's not it. And I tried to tell Raider Nation, get Spencer Rattler. I've been saying it for 4 years.
What has he done that warrants a victory lap?
He looks good in camp.
There was a draft Twitter account that posted that he had a good practice.
That is not victory lap worthy. I'm sorry.
His arm talent is what the kids would say is different.
Yes. His height is what the kids would say is Bryce Young-esque.
Okay, all right.
Yes. He's quote-unquote turning heads at
Thank you. There's
camp.
momentum building.
Yes.
You know
That
what you're
he could be a
reminding me
difference
of?
maker.
When Al and I were at a station in the Bay Area, and one day I was doing a Saturday show, and it was about this time of year, 4 years ago.
Wow.
And one of the guys at the station, Butch, called into the show I was doing, called in live. Trey Lance had the greatest practice ever. He's going to start this year.
Who, by the way, it's funny.
I'm not kidding.
It's funny that you're saying this because Aiden O'Connell is the one who looked like a god. What was that?
Last training camp,
last training camp. And then I'm just telling you.
I was in San Diego years ago on vacation about this time of year, and they had just completed
Something about this time of year.
Yeah, just about finished the preseason, and they were raving in San Diego. They still had the Chargers about this new quarterback, and I think it was the Vikings. They played a preseason game, but he threw 4 touchdown passes and led them from behind in the fourth quarter, whatever. Oh, this is a real deal. We've got it now. We've got our quarterback. It was Ryan Leaf. They were going bonkers in the preseason.
Okay, yeah,
we're
I
not
know
even
that.
to the preseason.
But I know that. But the whole thing,
Hall of Fame game on Thursday.
The whole thing with
yeah.
Spencer Rattler, he had the whole thing changed when he did that show. People said he had to grow up. Then he lost his spot to one Caleb Williams.
Never heard of him.
Who's just the next coming of whoever. So just don't sleep on Spencer Rattler. That's all I'm saying. And the Raiders could have had him. That's all I wanted to say. That's all I want to say. We can move forward now.
Okay.
But just bookmark that in your brain.
I will.
Okay.
But
Just
victory
bookmark-
lap
and you
is
bookmark
overstating
that.
it.
And Chris, you bookmark that. And Nate, you
There's a
bookmark that as
rattle
well.
in the car.
There's a rattle in the car. Okay, and it could have been. That's a good one, Chris. You come out the top of the dome.
Off the dome.
You could have been Quavo.
Yeah, I could have been.
You could have been flying away.
What do you think of this one? The Saints offensive line, they should call them the Turtle Wax line because they keep the car clean.
I like that.
Do you?
Wasn't there another one that they tried to do that in Oakland where it's like, there was something else where they tried to name the offensive line after Carr. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's very corny, very cringe.
He's not good.
Come on.
Whitey, we're going to lead you to somewhere I'm pretty sure you're
that's
going
a
to go.
charge.
That is a charge. Poor Jimmer.
Shoulder to the chest,
got folded.
defense at its best.
This is ridiculous.
This is absolutely insane.
So who are these guys
Exactly.
besides Jimmer?
It's Rick Barry's son, grandson.
Right.
Is
And
it his
then,
son's son? It's his son's son.
Rick Barry's son's neighbors, like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, right. Hey, I'm going to play some pickup today in
Where were
Paris.
these tryouts?
They came through Sacramento. I don't know if they were tryouts, but I
They've got
believe this team came through
They have
Sacramento.
a regular team, I think.
Yeah.
Which is what we should have for the men's basketball team and the women's team. We should have a regular team.
I agree.
Yeah.
Speaking of threes, Whitey, trying to lead you to where I know you'll. No, Nate, you don't have to. See, he wasn't even Nate. I actually didn't know if that was three or screen.
I was just going to say exactly that.
Keegan Murray, people are saying that.
Drop top, raindrop.
You know what? Speaking of fine, women's
Fine.
Premier Allen brings stinky lunches. Women's Premier Basketball Association.
Yes.
Semis this weekend and championship. So we'll have more drops from Al. I got to start writing them out. You think Mark Jones?
Raindrop.
You think Mark Jones writes them out?
You announcing the whip? That's great.
Yes. Yes. You think he writes them out so he knows what he's going to say? Or just,
yes.
I don't.
I think so. I think he writes words that he like has to say that day. Starting to shrivel.
His dad is I think his dad is like an English professor or something.
It would not surprise me.
Yeah,
wouldn't surprise me if he wrote
So
the dictionary.
I think he's got a lot of that just in his head.
Word inclined.
That's my guess.
Okay.
You would have to be. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
It wouldn't surprise me. If,
I'm writing down a
real
ton for this
wordsmith.
weekend.
You should, yeah. Just write them down and just fit them in somehow.
There you go.
Find creative ways.
I know that one was written down, right?
Yeah.
Got
Which one?
3.
No.
Drop 3.
Top raindrop.
Whitey,
Top raindrop.
what I was going to say is this Keegan Murray stuff. Tim Bontemps and the East exec saying that Allen brings stinky lunches. Bring in DeRozan could mess up Keegan's runway. Did you think that was a big deal or no deal? We talked about it a little bit before that came out, but
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to help him. By the way, you guys are welcome.
Why is that?
You're welcome.
Why
Yesterday,
is that?
Jay and I did an interview with Aaron Fentress.
Yes, we
My
played it.
understanding is that Bleacher Report or somebody picked it up.
Yes,
that's right.
So
Yes, they did.
it's gotten a ton of views.
Mhm.
But
yes,
the overlay on
Yes.
says Stiles and Watkins.
Yes, we appreciate it.
Yeah, so you're welcome.
Very much so. Yes.
See,
we didn't
appreciate
need it,
a
but
lot.
we appreciate it.
Yeah.
We definitely
So
appreciate
we
it.
did a lot of promoting for your show.
Yeah,
That's
we
right.
appreciate it a lot.
Well, it's the least you could do.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
Uh-huh.
it's the least you could do. I'm waiting here, Whitey.
Alan, I think you might be traded today, so just
Oh man,
stay loose.
No.
Where are we going?
No.
Where are we
I don't
going?
want any prospects.
Yeah,
please.
no, it was too late now. Whitey, did you see my video about Solaire? I was very upset.
I did see. Well, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Giants are attempting to do.
See, I told you what they were going to do, and they're doing exactly what I told you. It was a week ago. You said, are they going to sell? Are they going to buy? So they're going to kind of do a little of both. That's what he always does.
I just want it over.
Solaire's he's no good this year.
No, he's not. He's not. It's
So
not
what's
about
the big
that.
deal? Well, what is it about then?
It's about that. If that's all they did that and they got rid of Cobb. That's it.
Mm-hmm. There was something else they did. Oh yeah, Bauman to the Angels for cash.
For old friend cash considerations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
They just kind of decluttered. They got rid of some spare pieces, but they didn't get rid of anybody who's actually contributing to whatever this run.
yeah, and this run isn't much of one, but we'll see. Maybe
And the deadline's not here yet.
Well, you got
an hour.
1 hour and 6 minutes.
What do you want them to do? You want them to add, right?
I want them to add. I wanted them to get Jazz Chisholm, and now Frankie gets to enjoy that. Did you see he had 2 home runs yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
And he played third for the first time in his professional career.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, don't get me started.
You're
Do not
started.
get me
You've already started.
No, well, it's ending now. And thank you for listening to Stiles and Watkins. Thank you to all the callers,
Drop top.
the texters,
Raindrop.
and the sack chatters. Thank you to Nate. This has been Stiles and Watkins. You have the Drive Guys coming up next with Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, and Jay Johnson. Until tomorrow, secure the bag. Like to be.
The only place you'll find De'Aaron Fox is Sacktown Sports.
Spins away from the defender in the paint. Soft floater.